Well, doubtful or doubt. I don't know.
Like, how does that make
know.
sense? Like, think about words are weird. English is weird.
What DOU?
Yes.
DOUBT? Doubt? How you spell it again?
Yeah. Shouldn't it be pronounced like doubt?
Yeah.
Like the B is silent. The B, like that was the point I'm making.
Yeah, I gotcha. So I was just trying to make sure, like, I did spell it correctly,
you
right?
Did, yes. Okay. I had to double check it because I doubted myself. Ha.
Yeah, that's just the beauty of the English language, man. I mean, even other crazy words like debt. Like, oh man, I'm in so much debt right now from like money, financial wise.
Who thought this was okay? Why is this silent B a thing? Oh my goodness, yep. I'm 26, and I'm just realizing, I'm just dumb. I mean, come on, let's get to the facts. I should just clearly realize that there's a B in the word doubt.
It comes down to you just knowing it. It's not like it's meant to be spelled that way. I mean, it's funny. There was a study that showed that if you make a whole page of like paragraph, like a couple paragraphs, and if you rearrange all the letters in the word, but at the very least you have the first and last letters correct, you'll know the word because you just know what letters are in a word. And you can tell by context. It's actually a really, really strange study because you look at it and everything just looks like it's gibberish, but you can still read it. It's actually kind of strange.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Are there any... I was just thinking about this. Well, like, I'm trying to think of some myself, but are there any words that are kind of like that where it's like, oh, you always forget how to spell the word, or there's always... like, you always miss one letter in a certain word? I'm trying to think. I'm sure I have a ton because I misspell words all the time.
I mean, I think there's just a lot of really stupid words that I shouldn't say stupid words, but there's just a lot of words that are spelled so dumbly or stupidly that it's like, why do you spell it that way? Kind of like the silent B for doubt and debt, or another one is like, do you know how to spell? These are even words that aren't even like that hard, but you still don't know how to spell them. Like, can you spell the word maneuver?
Oh. That one, actually that one I think I can nail. It's just MAN.
Here, I'll just to make sure I'm not lying.
I feel like I gotta type it out. MAN.
Well, don't type it out. It's cheating, but I'm gonna. Okay. I'm
not typing it into Google. Sure. I was just typing it into Discord, but.
Okay.
You know what? Let's just hard pass. My brain is not ready to spell on the podcast. No, I can't.
I have another one. How about the word ukulele? Can you spell that?
Why? I don't know.
I wish I had like a soundboard to do all with the buzzer sounds for
guys. I did not get the "Are you smarter than the fifth grader" game. I would totally be horrible at that. You know, people are always like, "Oh, Dark Souls is such a hard game. Like I could never get into it." No, for me, it's just "Are you smarter than a fifth grader?" I could never complete the first level. It'd just be Jeff Foxworthy pretty much doing what you're doing. Can you spell maneuver? No, I'm out. I'm taking this back to GameStop and getting 6 cents.
I actually had that game before too. I think I had the phone game for that. The Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
I'm sure it's fun.
And yeah, I actually thought the show was pretty entertaining. But I will say that was a disturbingly accurate impersonation of Jeff Foxworthy.
I feel like when I was a teen, I mean, that's kind of when I first was able to discover like stand-up and Comedy Central. And I'm going to say like in the like early to mid 2000s is when like Jeff Foxworthy and Larry the Cable Guy were like really blowing up. And I always kind of like hated that humor. I thought it was like a little cringy and like they just did like a lot of like a dad and like fart or beer humor or redneck humor. And then like a couple years ago, like I just learned that they just kind of like found that lane and just decided to stick into it because that's what made them like millions of dollars. And like I forget the name, Larry the Cable Guy. Like that's not his name. That's just like his identity.
Yeah.
But he's actually like a really like smart guy. And like that's just his character. And I'm just so dumb that I never realized that.
That's actually how he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people think that's how he actually talks in real life. Like I'm pretty sure, like if he was just hanging out like with his family, it's like a whole different person because it's all an act. That's just the character he plays, and the whole but that hick. It's just, at least it's all just a character that he does. So,
yeah. So,
or even this might be a really funny thing. Like even Richard Simmons, like people act like he's so flamboyant, but people say in actual professional scenarios he's actually a totally different person. Like he may act all flamboyant and stuff in character and stuff, but yeah, that's not what he does all day, every day. It's not how he is. It's kind of strange.
I mean, even to the modern equivalent, look at someone like DrDisrespect. Do you think that's how that guy is just everywhere? No. I mean, right now he's MIA though. Who knows what happened to him? Twitch cut him off. That's a fact. That's a fact, by the way. He got banned on Twitch, I think this weekend or right before the 4th of July. And no one knows why. Twitch didn't even put out reasons for it. Granted, he's done a lot of shitty stuff back in the day. He, had the allegations where he cheated on his wife. Then during E3, I think last year, he was just going around live streaming everywhere, with a GoPro or something. And he actually went to the a men's restroom on the E3 show floor and got in a lot of trouble for that, rightfully so. But yeah, he's just gone, and I don't think they even explained why. But I mean, to some people, do they really need an explanation? All that being said, though, I actually did like DrDisrespect. I thought he was entertaining.
Yeah. I felt bad because I never heard of him before.
Yeah, he was huge. He was probably one of the biggest streamers on Twitch. I'd say probably top 3, if not the number 1.
Oh wow!
Okay. He did a lot of battle royale, first person shooter stuff. He did Call of Duty. Then he did PUBG when that was big. He did Fortnite, Apex Legends, pretty much all the popular shooter games. He was pretty good at them. He is kind of just a bully. His character was almost a pro wrestler, a heel kind of. If you know wrestling talk.
I do. And I know the word heel.
Yeah,
that's the part of your foot, right?
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, wrestlers have a big foot fetish. It's weird.
Oh, is that why Hulk Hogan never wears shoes?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
I mean, I'm not the brightest guy. I don't know a lot about wrestling. Those people into it are pretty smart. They could definitely be smarter than a 5th grader. Maybe. All right.
Maybe the Undertaker, but that's it.
I'm kind of going to steer us back here. I'll get to my week, but before I do that, there's something I really need to address. This is actually not a bit. This is 100% serious. This is kind of news, I guess, too. So, over the past week, I want to say it was probably it's Thursday when a lot of this started blowing up, and Wednesday. There were a lot of rape allegations going around in the Smash community, specifically with a lot of the top players. And I was really sad to, hear all about this. I had some skepticism because, of course, it's the internet. You can't believe everything you read right away. But unfortunately, as I saw more people come out and read more of these posts and stuff like that, it appears that a lot of these allegations are all true. And it's quite sad to me because a lot of these players I really respected and admired. I watched a lot of them on Twitch many times, multiple times a week. And I kind of just want to go through. I don't even know if I want to go through all the allegations. It's horrible. I sent you a link. There's a link I was going to read. It's on Digital Trends talking about all different players. I'll just throw out 2 big names that just got allegations that are true. Nairo, he was probably one of the top 5 Smash Ultimate players. I believe he's also in the top 3 for Smash 4, but he had he did some horrible actions to a 15-year-old competitor a few years ago. Captain Zach, he's also a pretty prominent competitor. And then even one D1, that's another big one who I didn't mention or wasn't going to mention, but Zero even came out. So Zero's was weird because he kind of said oh, he doesn't really have any allegations. And I think he wanted to just kind of get off social media and not like interact with it for a little bit. But then a few days passed, and he actually put out this long post how he was like, he actually did something, like was in a relationship with a 15-year-old or 16-year-old girl, and like he felt awful, and he just like, you know, pretty much canceled himself. All these people pretty much canceled themselves. Like they kind of admitted that they were wrong, and they're like, all right, well, we're not going to go to tournaments anymore. We're not going to make content. And again, to me, like I always looked up to a lot of these people. I always thought they were really cool people, entertaining, like very nice, and it really breaks my heart to read all these allegations. I mean, they're not even allegations anymore. They're true from what I understand. And it's sad to see them all go, and it does bum me out, but I also do want to be the light at the end of this tunnel and tell everyone that doesn't, just because this stuff happened, and there were other players too, I didn't name them all, but just because all these players are gone, guys, don't lose hope. Don't think Smash Ultimate is dead or the community is dead, you know. There are plenty of players, especially like good players, who have no allegations and are still going to support the game and compete. And it's also just a weird time because we're still in this pandemic. Like tournaments aren't really a thing. I mean, another story which we're going to talk about is even one of the head. Sorry, I'm just trying to think of the words. But one of the organizers for EVO, the biggest fighting game tournament, he even got allegations, which I believe they're true, about how he used to do some really shitty stuff back in the day and ended up canceling EVO Online. But yeah, man, it's just, there's a lot of horrible news going out there. It's sad. You got to interpret it how you want. Follow them or just let them go. I mean, who knows when they're going to come back, if they even come back. I don't condone any of those actions. I think it's horrible. What they all did was fucked up, and I don't wish to support them anymore. But yeah, we will move on. The community isn't dead. Everything will be okay. I said my piece. That's all I gotta say.
Oof, yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's bad when you hear about this in a community that you really are, you know, one that you follow, you know, passionately. And it's, I hate saying it, but I mean, obviously it's wrong. I'm not trying to justify this in any way. I'm just saying, but it's funny. It's funny because this is everywhere. Like there are so many like just horror stories all over the world in all different forms of media, not just in the video game community. And it's sad because then people feel like, oh, see, people kind of like taint it and say that now all of the gaming community must be perverted or like must be sexual predators and stuff, which is just not true, you know. But people apply that to everything. Like you hear about one bad bunch of apples in a whole barrel, but then the whole barrel is bad. You know, I mean, we kind of have that kind of crap going on in the world today regarding like, you know, racial issues and stuff, which is terrible. But like, right. It's funny when it comes to even like these like sexual allegations. Like, again, not trying to justify it in any way. It's all terrible. But, you know, like even in Hollywood, there's so many like terrible, terrible stories that people don't know about because it's not always like, you know, on the news. But like you'll hear about it sometimes. But if you were to actually Google like all like the actual celebrities over the last like 30 or 40 years, and like whether they're sexual or sex offenders, or if they're like, if there's any kind of like crime or felony that they were involved in regarding, you know, sexual allegations or rape, all that stuff, you'd be surprised of how many terrifying people are out in the world. Like, I guess one of the biggest ones that we've learned recently, the last couple of years, was Bill Cosby. You know, who would think that he would be I hate saying these words, but like, you know, when you learn the truth, like, oh my gosh, this guy's a monster, but you never get that kind of perception. But then people start thinking, oh, it's all no. It's not. It's just minority gamer. These try to like. This is just how terrible the human mind is. Because then they'll reach and say, "Oh, is all of the Nintendo players? Do they all do this?" And no, of course not. So I really hope, and like this goes out for for the listeners. I'm pretty sure Gamer Corey is only just saying this, as he said, to speak his piece and to kind of just share this information, but please don't take this as all gamers and all streamers, all the Smash players are terrible people,
Right?
And they're, whichever. But
yeah, and I was talking to this with my one buddy, and he made the point, or he was kind of like wondering why, like, people would come out now, like, why did they wait so long? And I was trying to explain to him that some people don't understand, like, some of these incidents can be very traumatic to the individuals who suffered them, and sometimes it's very hard for them to just come out and say, like, these actions happened to them or they had to do these things. So just try to keep that in mind. I know a lot of these things happened many years ago, or well, just a few years ago, like maybe like 2 to 3. But that doesn't disregard the actions. It doesn't matter how long. Like, it's the action period. That's where it should just stop. Like, the fact that happened to begin with, even if it was years ago. Even look at your the point you just made about Bill Cosby. Like, a lot of those things happened way long ago, in compared to this Smash Brothers drama. But yeah, you always have to accept and hear out these people, because usually it is true. Like, people don't want to just make lies, these horrible lies. Like, they're generally telling the truth. I had another point, but I lost it. Damn memory. It's not great. But yeah, it's sad. I agree with what you're saying. It's not everyone. I just had to point this out because, this is kind of just where I reign in terms of, like, being part of a community. I like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I like FGC. And I kind of want to say my piece. I did say something on Twitter a few days ago, kind of the same stuff, but I figured I wanted to talk about it here because, this game means a lot to me, and it means a lot for other people. It's sad to see people have this power in the community doing these horrible things. But it is a good thing and a bad thing that they're called out, because at least, this isn't going to be tolerated anymore. And I'll also be interested to, I know a lot of tournament organizers are, like, taking actions to kind of not have these sort of events happen in the future. A lot of venues aren't going to serve alcohol at the events anymore. A lot of them are going to require, if you're, like, under 18, to have some sort of, like, guardian with you. And I think all these are positive and good changes. Besides that, I just lost Mike. Hey guys, real sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties. I said all my piece on the Smash allegation stuff, so we're just gonna move on to other topics for now.
More positive topics.
Right. So I kind of wanted to talk about this too. I think this is just, like, a personal issue with me, something I was thinking about a lot, like, yesterday and today. But I feel like right now I'm kind of in this pickle where I almost don't really know when's, like, a good time to, like, record my, like, gameplays for the channel. Because, like, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like, even though I kind of have been pumping out content somewhat consistently, I haven't played, like, The Last of Us Part 2 or Remnant from the Ashes, like, in a couple weeks. And I don't know, like, if I should maybe try to segment putting in more, like, doing short little, like, oh, I can play an hour of The Last of Us, or oh, I can play an hour of Remnant, or what I really want to do with that. I'm kind of just talking to the either. Like, I'm not really looking for an answer, or maybe you could give me some, like, advice, Mike. But I've just been really enjoying editing, but I feel like editing takes me a while too. Like, sometimes editing a video could take me, like, an hour, if not more, like, just one, like, part of the Let's Play.
Well, to be fair, Corey, I think if you're only editing for, like, an hour or two at the most, I think that's actually not a bad amount. That's not a bad amount of time to put towards a video. Because there's times I'll take multiple hours going through some videos.
Right.
Like, I mean, if it's like an hour or less, then it's probably just me doing, like, basically minimal editing, and then I'm just letting the video render. Yeah,
because that takes a while too for me. That could take, like, 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how big the file is.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't I don't know if it's also just like me because like I mean we'll get into this later, but my gaming habits have been a little bit different right now. I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing. I just got one new game too, which I'll mention. I didn't really get to dive into that, but I mean it could just be me. I'm not saying I'm bored of those games or don't want to keep playing them. I was just thinking like, wow, it's
you have
weird.
a lot of games to play.
right. That's the problem always. That's maybe it's just me.
Yeah. I was gonna say, don't make it seem like you're putting it all on yourself. I think it's more so we were both very excited to get Level With Me, the YouTube channel started,
right?
And so I think that's why we jumped in. Oh, let's do the play a Level With Me where we play a game together, which we only really did at one
which
time.
I love. I like that.
Oh, I do too, and I apologize. I've been really procrastinating on getting episode 2 out. I do.
Well, you've been moving too. I don't.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but still, I feel bad because it's not out on the channel. But then more so, you are not like my Let's Plays are Subnautica, which is the bigger one. That's where like it's going to take me like God knows how many hours of playing that game, like countless hours. That's just the kind of game that is.
Right.
And right now, I'm also doing Metroid, but like that's a game I can beat in like 2 hours. So like that's going to take like no time at all. But then you're also playing 2 other giant games. Now, Remnant from the Ashes, I'm not too familiar with, but I have been enjoying.
Don't know. Yeah, I don't know how long that one is either.
Yeah. But I have been enjoying watching you play. It's pretty interesting. But the thing is, you have that game, which I'm pretty sure is like a fairly meaty game, and you have The Last of Us, which is from what I've heard, is also a very, very meaty game. So you are playing 2 giant games, and sometimes flip flopping between those games can be a little, intrusive because like you might be really into just playing The Last of Us and you kind of just want to bang it out. Like, not saying you're going to just binge play it and like beat it in like 2 days, but you know what I'm saying. Like, whenever you get your time to game, you might want to say, okay, well, I want to do my Animal Crossing for however long I usually play Animal Crossing, and then back to playing Last of Us, and then you might be thinking, oh wait, I have to play Remnant from the Ashes too. And not saying that that you don't like the game, but it's just maybe you are juggling too much. Like, you're juggling 2 giant games as opposed to me playing like a short game with you. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry, I'm getting mixed up. Technically, you're playing 3 games because like the Metroid is when is like when you watch me play. I'm watching you play Luigi's Mansion, which is also a fairly meaty game,
right?
And then you're playing 2 games on your own, solo
and Pokémon with my friend over at Lapstone.
So I think exactly. So I think right now it's not a you problem, but you do just have a lot on your plate. So if you want, I really don't think the viewers and the listeners would really mind it if you're okay with this. Maybe you could put one of the games on hold for a little bit. And if you want to, maybe if there's a game that you're not playing as much, maybe say, okay, I'll put that to the side. Let me beat The Last of Us. Let me beat Pokemon. And I'm saying, like, maybe just not try to don't overload yourself,
right?
Because I know most Let's Play channels usually if there's like multiple people who Let's Play on the channel, like maybe 3 people, usually they're only playing one game at a time, and only when the one Let's Player finishes said game, they'll move on to another game. So I think you're being a little too hard on yourself, and I think we were just very anxious to get started on Level With Me, and we just wanted to flood the channel with content. But I think at that point we're overloading ourselves. Well, you so more than me, because I'm only playing 2 games. You're playing 3, and you have the 4th one with your buddy Abra. So
I do appreciate those thoughts, and I definitely think you are right. But I also have my opinions on what I need to do. I think there's 2 main things here that I see that. Well, one is literally the roadblock, if you will, and the other one is just why I decided to have all this juggling act. And one is diversity. I think that's a very important thing for any channel. I'm sure people enjoy everyone. Viewers probably have just one Let's Play that they might like. Like, maybe they just want to keep watching The Last of Us Part 2, and they don't care about Remnant from the Ashes, or, maybe they don't care about any of your Let's Plays, and that's fine. But I do think I guess it could also just be me, because I do just like a bunch of different types of games. But I don't know. I like to typically, if having a Let's Play channel like this, personally, for me, I like to have 2 different games I'm playing. I mean, I technically guess I would be doing that even if I just keep playing The Last of Us Part 2, because we have Luigi's Mansion 3 that I'm working on. But, yeah, I do think you're right. about maybe too many balls I'm juggling right now. Maybe I need to recess or just try to focus more on those games. Going into my second point here, Animal Crossing. That's kind of just my game that I'm playing because I'm really enjoying it right now, but unfortunately, it's not doing anything for me. Like, I don't like to always look at video games now as like a piece of content or like a piece, like I could use it for something, but with the way that I kind of have my flow of how I play and how I create my content and then just have my, regular life of like going to work or like hanging out with Megan or my family, I feel like sometimes I don't have a lot of time to play as many games as I would like. So maybe I just need to almost like maintain my focus and be like, okay, this was fun, but maybe I need to go back to focusing on these games because I do really want to keep playing them. I'm really enjoying all the games I'm Let's Playing right now. I think they're all a lot of fun. I have no gripes with any of them, but I want to try to complete them because with all this being said, and I think this is even leaning back to your first point about I have too many games, but I have games that I'm like, I can't wait until I Let's Play this game or this game.
Yeah, I know.
I have more in the backlog.
And it's tough.
Yeah. Hey, everyone, it's us again. Yep, technical difficulties, gotta love them. Internet, electronics, boop, beep, bop, boop, bop. Hate it.
I know. We should just go back to, like, paper cups and strings. I mean, it's so much better.
It's funny, that's what I was just gonna say, because goddamn grown-ups. They had a scene with the tin can and the string. What a
the best.
What a horrible movie.
What a great movie. Oh, horrible movie. What a great movie. I thought we established last week it was a great movie. Well, the sequel, I'll admit, is terrible. But anywho.
All right. Well, we need to just get to the meat here. So I'm just cutting all the fat off that I had here. I'm just going to say some headlines that I was going to talk about. This is not the news. This is just things I was going to talk about. So over the weekend, this is kind of news related a little bit, but Ubisoft launched a new Battle Royale game. It's called Hyperscape. You want to know how you get into this? It's in beta form right now. You have to watch any of the Twitch streamers who have drops enabled, and you get a slight chance of getting able to have beta access to play this game. I just want to say right now, for the record, I fucking hate this kind of mentality. It's a beta. Let everyone... Back in the day, you either pre-ordered the game or it was an open beta. I hate this bullshit where you have to just have 16 different little windows open of Hyperscape just to try to get a code. I had to do it with Valorant, and it fucking sucked. This is dumb. I know what everyone's going to say, but Corey, it helps the streamers because more people watch them. No, they should just make the game... It's so frustrating. It's a marketing strategy. Whatever. Moving on. I hate it. The game looks cool. It looks kind of like a Halo, like more arcadey type shooter than like, any other Battle Royale. Like they're a little bit more like military sim realistic. It looks neat, but I'm mad that I can't just play it unless I watch Twitch streams for hours. No, thank you. Also, if you lived in the United States this week, it was 4th of July. I had a good time. I got sunburnt. Hung out at a pool. Slept in a hammock. Drank a lot of beer. Ate a lot of food. Good times all around.
Sounds like a fun time.
Do you have anything, or should we just start the podcast officially and then?
Well, I guess I'll just mention that. Like I feel your pain for what you're just talking about. Yes. When it comes to I really do. But because of my end, my technical difficulties, I say we can just move on to the meat of the podcast, where we talk about some gaming news. Okay,
sounds good to me, man.
Yeah, I do have a lot to talk about later when we get to the watch replay part. So That's why I say let's get through the news.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Level With Me podcast, episode 56. Your two hosts right here, Game Bro Corey, me, Mike, a.k.a. the Collector's Revolt, him. We're here again. The internet... Thor, the God of Thunder, does not allow us to do the podcast, but we prevail. We go through that. We say, fuck you, we're going to record this. A lot of swears. Getting heated here.
I was a little like, I had to sit back and like, whoa, Corey, you're heated. I think you're still heated over that streamer talk you were just talking about.
Yeah. That stuff just infuriates me a lot because I feel like I'm kind of the old man yelling at the cloud because it's like that's just how it is, Corey. Like, just deal with it. Like, but I don't know. Like, if I was a game developer, I wouldn't want to do that. I know it helps the streamer because they get paid, who's ever streaming. Like, Ubisoft is giving them money, and then also all the people watching them. I'm not even like jealous that they have like, you know, hundreds of thousands of viewers. It's just I wish I could just play the damn game and formulate my own opinion on it. And I want that for everyone, not just me, because I have a podcast with like 6 listeners, and you know, I want everyone to play the game and enjoy it, not have to just sit through hundreds of streams, even though you might enjoy them. I don't know. Anyways, news here. This is the most video game related news ever. Kanye West says he's running for president.
Again?
Yeah.
I swear, like, it's funny, just by the headline. Kanye West says he's running for president, but he hasn't actually taken any steps. So that just, I think that just tells me that he just says things. Like, he's just like, yeah, I'm going to run for president. Hey, Kanye, you know, there's a lot of trouble in the world. Yeah, don't worry. I'll solve world hunger. Oh, you will? And he just doesn't do anything. I think he just says things.
I literally had a discussion with my girlfriend where I'm like, would I vote for Kanye West? Probably. Does he have any qualifications? No. He has less than Donald Trump. I mean, judge him as you will. I don't mean to make this political, but yeah, like he's just like saying this like, what is this? Like, this is just like those people who write, like, you know, Mickey Mouse or whatever in the ballot. You know, you could vote for anyone. You could vote for me, Game Bro Corey, to be president. Please don't do that.
I'm voting for you.
No.
Harambe got, you know Harambe got a lot of votes, too.
Yeah.
Harambe got, like, a super high amount of votes. Like, strangely high amount of votes. Actually, just to wrap this up, have you ever heard of the guy called Vermin Supreme?
Yeah, I have, actually.
Okay, yeah. To me, it's Kanye West saying he's running for president is the exact same thing as someone like Vermin Supreme saying he's running for president. Only Vermin Supreme actually has taken the steps to, like, he actually has a campaign, so he actually does try. I think Kanye just says things for publicity. That's just another reason why I don't like him and why he's a gay fish.
I also want to point out how important this was because I literally got a notification direct from Twitter. It was trending like so much and got like so many likes and retweets or whatever that I just got a notification, not like someone I follow shared this or something. It was just a headline on the 4th of July, nonetheless, that says, and I believe this is at like 10:30 or 11 p.m. at night, Kanye West running for president. And I'm like, oh, wonderful. Idiocracy is a living thing. Thank you, Mike Judge. Anyways, video games. Hey, this is the Level With Me podcast. It's #1 video game podcast in the world. So this is an interesting topic that I guess kind of transpired over the past few days. NBA 2K21 current gen release date revealed. Next gen version $10 more expensive. I don't care anything, or I don't care about. I'm sorry, I'm very heated from that Ubisoft thing. I'm getting all tongue-tied. See, look, I'm very... I don't care at all about NBA or, you know, any sports games for that matter. I like my sci-fi or my fantasy or, you know, whatever you call Nintendo. I think the interesting thing here, and there's our next article is kind of all about that, they're charging $10 more for the next-gen version. That means you're going to have to pay $69.99 USD for a new game on your PS5 or Xbox Series X. And then the next article here also says multiple publishers apparently considering raising game prices on PS5 and Xbox Series X. Following the news that NBA 2K21 will cost $10 more on PlayStation 4 and Xbox Series X, that's a typo, it should say PlayStation 5, the research firm IDG Consulting has said that other game publishers are also considering price increases for their games. Speaking with GamesIndustry.biz, IDG President and CEO Yoshi Osaki explained how game pricing has remained flat since 2005, whereas TV and movie pricing has increased significantly. The last time that next-gen launch software pricing went up was in 2005 or 2006, when it went from $49.99 to $59.99 at the start of the Xbox 360 and PS3 generation. During that time, the costs and prices in other affiliated verticals have gone up. I also remember that. Even though I really wasn't a avid gamer during that time, like literally that's like right around the time where I actually got really into video games. I think all Wii games were $49.99 though.
Yeah, Wii games were still $50, so good on Nintendo for that one. But I remember the 360 and the PS3. Yeah, that was like, because that's kind of like when like they like solidify themselves as being, we're the mature consoles, and Nintendo Wii's like childish.
There was a lot of that attitude during that time, and I'm glad we kind of moved past it.
Yeah, but early on, that's kind of like what was going around, and like, but the thing was like, well, that's why the games are more expensive, because they're just better games, which is obviously just wrong. But whatever.
I mean, also the Wii sold like crazy.
Oh yeah, the Wii was successful. It's not like we're not arguing that, but like basically, like there was that mentality. It started kind of with the GameCube, and then with the Wii, it was like solidified. Like, oh, the Wii's for children and grandma.
Shoutouts to the Wii. It came with a fucking game, a great game too. Wii Sports.
Yeah, now the number one selling game of all time technically has sold the most, because it was bundled with the Wii, the highest selling game of all time.
That's correct.
Yeah, fun fact.
But I guess the moral of these stories are, how does this make you feel? Like, do you think this is something that's okay, or are you like upset that game? I mean, I know you don't buy a lot of like current gen games, but
yeah.
Do you think like now's the right time? Like this is a fine change, or do you think like how dare they?
No, I think it was inevitable. I mean, remember like when CDs became like the new way of, you know, like when games were starting to move to CDs, we kind of saw that, you know, obviously with the PS1 and the Dreamcast, like the manufacturing cost for those games was decreased, because apparently making cartridges was actually pretty expensive. Like Super Nintendo games were actually like $80 to $90. So just to put that into perspective, people, like back when there was the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo, and I guess the like not the Dreamcast, the Saturn, like wait, did Saturn have CDs? I forget. Anyway, but the point is, like the cartridge games actually were like, even back then when like it was like, you know, whatever the opposite of inflation was, when prices were just naturally lower. Those games were $80 to $90, and that's so. It was a huge relief when technology moved to CDs for games, like mainly with Gen 6 and like the PS2, the GameCube, and the Xbox. And then that's when we were seeing $50 games. Like, oh my gosh, games are so much more cheap. They're so much cheaper. But obviously, this is the future. CDs can hold bigger, better games. And obviously, when we got to the Gen 7, then, you know, prices went up. I'm not quite sure why the Wii was still cheaper at $50, but regardless. Then for the last like 15 years or 14 years, that $60 has been the standard. So I think, yeah, like it eventually going to $70 was kind of like inevitable. So it's a bummer, but I mean, I think it definitely. I think we had our $60 games for a very long time, and we should be grateful. Because technically, like, I mean, like you see, like these games nowadays, like the studios do put like. I'm not really trying to say 2K, like the NBA 2K games specifically, but just modern games in general. Like the scope of those games are so big. Like I could understand them thinking we might have to start charging more just to help break even in some cases, you know, because there are some game titles that like even if it sells like 1 million copies, which would be like a really good success to other titles, that might to them that might be like, yeah, but now we still didn't break even, and then they're just losing money. So yeah.
First of all, I want to say this might be the Level With Me podcast history. I've actually don't think I've ever seen a Sega Saturn, or maybe I just never recognized it, but I Googled it just to clarify, and apparently it had both. It had a CD tray and a cartridge slot. Yeah. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, there was the Sega CD. That was actually like a console. I knew the Saturn might have had like a CD add-on. I forget.
And then I just want to... You hit the nail on the head right there. That's pretty much what I was going to say. Like, yeah, a lot of these studios, like, I feel like this is something a lot of people never really think about, but all media costs millions of dollars to produce. There are people working day and night, 24 hours, 7 days a week, especially in the games industry, man. There's so much crunch. These people are very overworked. They're putting a lot of time into these games. I welcome a $70 increase. I mean, I don't like it personally. I'd like that $10 to go somewhere else, but yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I just think it was inevitable, and I think it will help overall. It's not like these people are just taking your $10 and like, now we can buy a second car or, you know, anything like that. It's probably just going to help overall. Plus, I'm sure like the parts on like a PS5 and, well, I mean, that's not really going to the game. That's different. But anyways, yeah, that's all I got on that. Speaking of next gen, though, Xbox Series X first party games showcase coming on July 23rd. Xbox has announced that its showcase of Xbox Series X games, including first party titles, will be broadcast on July 23rd. As go ahead.
I was going to say, this is kind of what we've all been waiting for. Like, let's see some actual first party games, you know? Besides Halo, let's see some other stuff.
Yes. You know, I'm going to be real with y'all. I don't really look at Xbox anymore. I used to be super into the 360, as I think a lot of people did. They kind of dropped the ball with the Xbox One. They did bring it around at the end there, but I'm past the Xbox One. I don't really care that much about Xbox now, but I just love video games in general, so I'm definitely going to watch this. I want to see Halo Infinite like everyone else. And I root for Microsoft and the Xbox. I want to see what other first-party games they got. There's been a lot of rumors that they're making a new Fable game. I'd be super excited for that. I used to love the Fable series back on the 360. I'm very much looking forward to this. I think this is going to be great. Now, kind of an additional follow-up to this story. Well, actually, I don't think anything... If this story is true, all it would be is an announcement. They probably wouldn't show a game yet, but... Anyways, that's just me rambling. Xbox reportedly interested in acquiring WB Interactive. Microsoft is reportedly interested in acquiring Warner Brothers Interactive following the news that parent company AT&T is looking into possibly selling the video game development arm of Warner Brothers. However, a sale is not currently imminent. The information is reported that alongside companies like Activision, EA, and Take-Two, Microsoft is interested in acquiring WB Interactive and its several game development studios. Whoever acquires WB Interactive will likely purchase studios like Avalanche Software, Monolith Productions, NetherRealm Studios, Rocksteady Studios, TT Games, and various WB Games studios across the globe. This is very significant. I mean, a lot of those developer players are big names in gaming. I mean, NetherRealm Studios, Mortal Kombat, and Injustice, those are huge fighting games. Rocksteady Studios, all the Batman Arkham series, like those games are so fantastic and well loved. Even like Avalanche Software's, I've heard of all these. I can't name any of their games off the top of my head right now, but they're also like the Lego stuff with like the DC properties and stuff like that. This is a huge thing it'd be crazy if it comes true.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like, you know, a couple of years ago, Microsoft was they were just basically flexing their financial muscles by buying so many studios because I think they knew how poor the Xbox One library was.
Right.
I mean, I think it's crazy that they're actually buying something as crazy as the Warner Brothers gaming studio. I mean, that's
thinking of it.
Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying, it's just the fact that that's a possibility is pretty, it's pretty significant. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I definitely think that would boost up that, you know, repertoire of wanting to buy an Xbox if this is true, you know. Like the article said, they're currently not even imminent on a sale yet, so like who knows, this could all be a farce, but it's something interesting to think about.
Yeah. I mean, I think Microsoft mentioned that they purchased like so many. I mean, I don't know the actual number, but it was like a shocking amount of studios. And it kind of made you think what happened to all the other studios that you guys had all throughout the Xbox and Xbox 360 era? Like what happened to everything? You know, like the only one I can really name off the top of my head is that they own Rare, but then like before that, I'm like, yeah, like what else do they have? They had, I guess they had the Bungie. I think Bungie was responsible for the Halo series, like, and they had a couple other. I'm not sure who made Gears of War. Like these are the only real like exclusives that I can think of off the top of my head, and that's why Xbox and I guess technically the Xbox systems were always somewhat disappointing because they really didn't have a lot of exclusives. Yeah. Like I think I just named them all. And it's like
Yep.
the big ones.
Forza,
the big ones, Yeah. So, I mean,
Crackdown.
yeah, like they need these. They need these. They need this to compete with PlayStation, because I think, like, despite the fact that the console itself is impressive, like all the Xbox consoles have been impressive systems, but you need You need to have a library, a good library, and I think that that's something that the Nintendo consoles and the PlayStation consoles have been succeeding in greatly, greater than the Xbox consoles ever since Xbox One. Or I hate that. I hate the naming scheme. I'm sorry. I meant the very first Xbox, not Xbox One.
The original Xbox, as it's called now.
I don't know what they were thinking when whoever is working at Microsoft, and they're like the guys who came up with the names. They should be fired. I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure that guy was fired. I forget his name, but it was like the guy who was on the stage when they revealed the Xbox One. Like that was all his. He's like, oh, it's the one and all. Like it's your DVD, or your TV, your game console, your all this, and it's like no one needs so that. Stupid. They just want to play games on the box.
I know, but that's the thing, because they were all focusing on this. Thing can do anything, but what games do you have? It's a big
Everyone loved that. It was bundled in the Xbox One, and it costs more.
That was just them trying to piggyback off the success of the Wii, and that didn't work. Even PlayStation Move didn't work. I'm sorry.
They still use it though for VR. Oddly enough.
Yeah. Anywho, that tangent aside.
I also think this, just kind of tying this back to like the story before this, I think it will be interesting to see what Microsoft does, because from my knowledge, I think this is one of the first times where Sony actually went first, and Microsoft could have the potential to dunk on them, because usually it's always the other way around. Like Microsoft goes first, and then Sony's like, hold my beer. But now that could be on the shoe, could be on the other foot. So, who knows? I'm curious. And I mean, there's a lot of like third-party games that haven't been announced yet. Like, we don't know what the new Call of Duty looks like yet, and it's July. Usually we know that by like May. So, there's a lot of like third-party. Elden Ring, the new game from Software, we know nothing about it. George R. R. Martin's working on it. The guy who made Game of Thrones. It's crazy. Anyways.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he's not finishing the book. He's making a video game. Yeah, and then he's doing 100 other things besides finishing the book.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. Development affected by COVID-19, but shouldn't have big impact. Development of Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 will temporarily drop below 100% efficiency due to remote working, but the game's creators are confident that it won't have a major long-term impact. In an interview with The Guardian, co-director Naoki Hamaguchi and producer Yoshinori Kitase were asked about the effects of COVID-19 on the first part's release. Kitase explained that the release of the game happened during the unprecedented situation and has blindsided us. He went on to discuss how Part 2's development has been touched by the pandemic. At this current time, the team are still making the next gen via remote play, or the next game, via remote working. Our performance will temporarily drop below 100% efficiency because of this, but I don't think there should be a big impact in the long term. I mean, this is... You can see this like all over the gaming industry right now. I would say they're not the only ones affected by this. Like, I'm sure all development studios are not at 100% efficiency.
Yeah, like, this is nothing new. This is just, it's just, hey, all the companies are experiencing some struggles, so it's not that big. I mean, it's a shame, but like, it's not like they shouldn't feel bad. If anything, it's kind of impressive that they're saying that there shouldn't be any major impacts.
Yeah, I just thought this was neat though, because from my knowledge, I think this was the first mention that they're like, hey, we are working on the rest of the parts, even though that probably won't come out for another 7 years. We'll be playing it on our PS6s. Next, this is cool. Left 4 Dead creators reveal concept art for new zombie game Back 4 Blood. It's literally a piece of art, so this is going to play well on an audio podcast. Turtle Rock Studios, the creator of Left 4 Dead, has shown off concept art for its upcoming co-op zombie game Back 4 Blood. Revealed on Twitter, the images show off a ramshackle human settlement surrounded by fortifications and traps. The picture is below. It's pretty much that. It looks almost like it's out of any zombie fictional thing. It's kind of generic.
Yeah, this is the typical, like, kind of like what you see like in shows like The Walking Dead, like the stronghold where humans are trying to, save themselves against zombies. I have to say, I was really pumped when I saw this news article when you shared it, because like I love Left 4 Dead.
Me
and
too.
Left 4 Dead 2. And just like the Half-Life games, the memes continue where it's like, where is Left 4 Dead 3? Because I honestly don't know why they didn't make one of those, but nevertheless, it's funny
kind
that they're
of
actually,
are. It's just called Back for Blood.
I mean, this might as well, because it's funny. They're even using the 4, kind of like, it's like the same name
I love
convention.
it.
So I mean, like, I'm thinking this might as well be, and it's a zombie game. So it's like, is this basically just them making Left 4 Dead 3?
I think that's what everyone's going to assume, but I'm sure it won't be exactly the same. I think they're going to elaborate on it. Plus, if we want to deconstruct this picture, we could look into it a little bit deeper and see these fortifications and be like, does that tell us, like, is that going to be a gameplay mechanic? Like, can you craft, like, defenses? Is it going to have aspects like Fortnite? Like, maybe not every level is like a barricade in one fort and, like, survive waves, but maybe there are other parts where you, like, progress through a level, Who's to say? This game was announced, I think, like a year or so ago. Like, it's still very early in development.
Oh, wow. This is the first I'm hearing about it.
Yeah. Literally, when they announced it, it was just the logo, like, Back for Blood, and that was it. Like,
okay.
I think this might be the first official art piece.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's very cool. I'm a big fan of Left 4 Dead as well.
Yeah. I especially like, just to mention this, I especially love the co-op gameplay. Well, like, excuse me. Not just the co-op gameplay of Left 4 Dead, but how the online game modes where you can actually play as zombies. That was awesome. So I hope they incorporate that into this game as well. Like, I mean,
that'll be interesting. Like, seeing their versions of all the Left 4 Dead zombies that are not, the smoker, not the witch, whatever they call them.
Because I wonder, like, are they? I guess they're going to just create new types of zombies, or are there going to be like these like special zombies? I don't know.
It'll be called the smelly lady. I don't know.
The slicer and the
cougher.
The warlock. Yeah, the cougher. Yeah, there we go.
Moving on. LA Noire, the VR Case Files developer, is working on an open world VR game with Rockstar. The developer behind LA Noire, the VR Case Files, is once again working with Rockstar on a new open world VR game. In a LinkedIn announcement, Australia developer Video Games Deluxe said, having finished the critically well-received LA Noire, the VR Case Files, we are now gearing up for a new project, a AAA open-world title in VR for Rockstar. 2020 marks our 7th year of working exclusively for Rockstar in Sydney, and we are excited to taking on this groundbreaking project. Not much is known about it, like no setting or anything, but I think it's kind of interesting. An open world VR game and Rockstar's helping. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's funny. I really wanted to get into the LA Noire series. I've only ever really seen the gameplay like on YouTube, and it looks like a lot of fun. So I think if they're working on a virtual reality game in like a similar play style, I think that'd be really cool.
So this next story, I'm actually pretty excited. There's even like a little trailer. I didn't even know this, but Fallout TV show in the works at Amazon from Westworld creators. Amazon Studios has just announced a Fallout TV series from Westworld creators Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy serving as producers. Like I was saying, there's a very small teaser trailer. It's only 23 seconds. I'm literally watching it right now. It's got that nice Fallout style, like the loading screens, like the very old style, like, please stand by, like the nuclear things.
Like the 50s like aesthetic.
Yeah. All right, it's kind of a nothing trailer, but it seems pretty cool. I'm excited. Wait, it's funny because, like, weren't we just talking about, like, video game and movie video games, like, a week or two ago? And then this just pops up, like, oh, hey, that's awesome. Shame I don't have Amazon Prime or whatever you need to watch it on, but that's cool.
Yeah. It's funny. There were a couple, like, you always hear about these, like, video game adaptations that keep popping up. Like, I think we mentioned last time there was a Left 4 Dead one coming out. Not Left 4 Dead, I'm sorry. I'm thinking all these zombie games. Last of Us a live action series coming out. So it's kind of cool that I think it can be pretty tough when they try to make live action adaptations of games and stuff, like whether it even be like a movie or whatever. Like it can be pretty challenging. So it's still exciting to hear that they're working on it.
Whatever was I think we were talking about like the Last of Us version, like, or the Last of Us TV show, like the same things I said about that one I would say about this. Like, I'm just interested to see what's like physical props and what's just CG. I'm sure it's gonna look good in CG, but I love physical props, so it'd be cool like if they actually make like the vault set, or I'm sure they'll have the vault outfit, but like if they have like a whole like power armor suit, or like I love like video game weapons as props. I think that stuff's cool. I also like the world, like wherever they're gonna shoot this, like that could be interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Next up here, really quick, Horizon Zero Dawn release date announced for PC. It's arriving on August 7th. That's really all I got. Interesting to see, PlayStation exclusive games coming to PC. I mean, I think that's cool. That, there's no more, like, boundaries or anything like that. Also, I didn't beat that game, but it's a hell of a game. I really like Horizon Zero Dawn. It's a good, like, open world RPG. Has a little Zelda-y elements, but it's a fun game. It's really good.
Yeah, I've heard very good things about it, so that's kind of... Because I don't have a Sony console, so that's kind of cool that I can finally play it on my computer.
Yeah. Of course, it's the Level With Me podcast, so we always save some Nintendo news for last here.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, here we got Doom Eternal Switch release date to be revealed pretty soon. That's quotes from the developer. Those waiting for news on the Nintendo Switch version of Doom Eternal won't have to wait much longer, as executive producer Marty Stratton has said that the release date will be revealed pretty soon. As reported by Nintendo Everything, Stratton spoke to Game Reactor at Game Lab Live 2020 and explained how they believe it will live up to the standards set by 2016's Doom on Switch and will indeed be the full experience. He has a long quote here, which I am going to try to parse through. We'll be talking about the release date pretty soon. We haven't announced that yet. I can't do that now. It's really made great progress. Panic Button, the studio we work with on that, as I've said before, they're masters of the platform. We released Doom Eternal on all the same platforms we released Doom 2016, and I thought that was a real feather in the cap of our tech team. And I think this will be the same for Panic Button and our engine team as well, because it kind of starts with the core that gets passed along and the optimization that gets done. I think it's been every bit as good as Doom 2016 was, and I'm super excited for people to get it. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I know you're looking forward to this, and I'm sure many other Nintendo Switch owners are very much anticipating this, and that's good news to hear that they're working closely to keep the fidelity and high-paced action of Doom Eternal as close as it is to other versions.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, Panic Button, I have heard them before. They worked on the port for the Switch for Doom 2016, and I thought Doom 2016 was phenomenal. The game as a whole was just good, and if that was a port, I mean, I think it lived up to every expectation I had for the game. Obviously, it's one of those scenarios where if you have like an Xbox or PlayStation and the Switch, yes, I would probably go with the Sony version or the Xbox version to play the game, because obviously it'll look a little bit better. But for people like me who only own the Switch, I'm very happy just to be able to experience this game. So that's cool. I'm a little bummed that it didn't come out at the same time, because that they were pushing for that. But maybe COVID is one of the main reasons why it didn't happen. I don't know.
Yeah, who's to say? Last but not least, I was parsing through this. Take this story with a little grain of salt. It was recently updated that the translator of this interview can't really tell if the people giving the interview were like joking or being sarcastic. But again, take it with a grain of salt. Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 voice actors say they're finished their work on the game. Spanish voice actors for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 have said their work on the game is done, perhaps indicating that the game is a significant way through its development cycle. Reported by Game Reactor, Mark Navarro and Nara Alfonso told the hosts of the Un Cafe Con Nintendo podcast they had finished their work on the still undated sequel before questioning whether they should have revealed that information. As pointed out by VGC, localized voice acting is often one of the final tasks for game audio design departments. This doesn't necessarily mean that the game as a whole is close to complete, but it may indicate that Breath of the Wild 2 is a significant way through production. You got nothing to say? You're not excited about this?
No, I'm just letting you finish your.
No, that's all. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I was going to let you finish because I was going to say, like, hey, just like you, I'm very excited to, we're all waiting for any kind of actual news update.
Yes.
From, like, a proper one from Nintendo. We want to see some more progress on the game, like a development status. But hey, even this little tidbit of, like, hey, the Spanish voice acting is completed. Like, you would think because the games are being developed over, like, I'm pretty sure this is being developed by Nintendo in-house. Maybe some assistance elsewhere, but you would expect that means that Nintendo of Japan and Nintendo of America are probably the ones that are heavily involved in the development. So you would think that they probably get the Japanese and the English voice acting done first, and then start doing the other localizations. So maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I'm starting to think that means that if the Spanish was done, that means that they're even further along with the game development than we think.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, because it also makes me feel like if they know what all the dialogue is going to be, because obviously I feel like what I'm trying to say is if the Spanish voice acting is done, that means that the English and Japanese is definitely done. And that means they clearly have the game completely scoped out. They know exactly all the scenes. They have like all the dialogue options are now done essentially. So that means that this game must be. I'm not sure which phase it would be in. Maybe they're doing like the final like debugging stuff, trying to make sure that the whole world renders. I don't know. Maybe making sure all the mechanics work. So very exciting stuff. I don't know if this means we're going to see the game during the holiday season like we were all hoping for. But again, maybe even for the whole because of COVID, maybe we'll see this next year. But hey, I'm pumped. I cannot wait for this game.
Yeah, who's to say? Nintendo has been very crafty with their announcements this year. Yeah. They literally just dropped a new Super Mario or Paper Mario game. Like, it's coming out this month in a few weeks. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But with that being said, that's the end of our news cycle. So now we can move on to our second segment in the podcast, which is our weeks of what we've been watching and playing. Mike, is it okay if I go first? I feel like I don't have too much to talk about here. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You go right ahead, man.
So in terms of watching, very light watch week. I kind of talked about in the beginning of the podcast. I've been trying to either play games or work on the content for the channel. So I really only had time to watch one thing with my girlfriend, and I'm gonna ask this question first, Mike, before I get into this. Are you at all familiar with musicals?
Not really.
Okay. Well, for those of you who don't know, last Friday, what I would say is the biggest musical in recent years, called Hamilton.
Yep, I had a feeling you were going to say this. Okay.
Released on Disney Plus. Now, it's been showing for quite some time. I think it came out in 2015 or 2016, and Disney acquired the rights to it and basically put up the whole like theatrical version of it, like filmed in what I assume was either like great HD quality, 1080p or 4K. I don't know. And me and my girlfriend watched the whole thing. My girlfriend has seen it before, not live, but she's found ways on the internet to watch it, and she's listened to the songs multiple times. This is probably like one of her favorite things ever. So she was very excited to watch it and even show me, because I've never seen the play. I've seen many musicals with her, and I've come to like musicals, believe it or not. I think they're entertaining, whether it be the story or the music. I also just enjoy seeing the like set and the costume design. I think it's cool. But I actually really like this play. Hamilton was good, believe it or not. Maybe there's there's a reason why everyone really likes this. But for those of you who don't know what this is, it's essentially it's based on the actual historical character Alexander Hamilton, and it's kind of like movified up. Like they make a little story around his life, and some of the facts are true, some of them are theatrical. But the way they do the music, I think, is really neat because they make it very modern. It's very like hip hop, R&B type songs written by the creator, and he plays Alexander Hamilton, Lin-Manuel Miranda, I believe is how you say his name.
Yeah.
But yeah, the story, it was really cool. Like I said, I enjoyed like the design of all the costumes and the set. Like it was just done very well. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I had a good time watching it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not the biggest guy on musicals. Like I think the only real musicals I really tend to enjoy are like the Disney movies because they basically might as well be musicals with all the songs they do. But yeah, I've watched my fair share. Like I've watched Grease. I've watched Jesus Christ Superstar. I watched all these little things here and there. Again, not my forte, but they're okay. I definitely wouldn't say that I think they're terrible. They're just not my first choice of movie.
A very good one to get into once society goes back to being normal and you can actually go see a play, which I'm sure this one will start touring again, but the one that Trey Parker and Matt Stone made, the creators of South Park, The Book of Mormon, that was like one of the first musicals my girlfriend took me to. I saw that actually live in Philadelphia, and that one's great. That one's just like hilarious. Like I was
going to say, like, I can't believe that Trey Parker and Matt Stone made a musical. I can only imagine it being just like a giant parody of something.
I mean, if you guys want to go look it up, I'm sure someone put it on the internet somewhere. I'm not promoting that. I'm just saying that's an option, but it's a good time. Also, musicals are long. They're about like 3 hours normally. Hamilton was borderline 3 hours. So just letting you all know, if you get in, you gotta get. But it was good. I liked it a lot. I was almost going to chime in and say your favorite musical is Shrek the Musical, because there's also a musical about everything. There's a SpongeBob musical. There's a Spider-Man musical. You name it. Harry Potter.
And there was a Pokemon musical, apparently.
I believe it.
And my one friend said he went to go see it with his parents, and he said, like, in the theater, a bunch of people in Pokemon suits, like, like all like, Pikachu and Charmander started coming down the aisles. He said it was like heaven. He loved it as a kid.
I can't wait to listen to the song that Muck sings.
Muck, 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 muck.
Hey, great segue. Speaking of games I played some more of that Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu with my buddy Abra over at Loudstone Entertainment. We got to sit down and play. We didn't get to play too much further. We're all busy men. But we got through. Oh God, what was the name of the tunnel we went through? We made it to is it Celadon City, the one where like Lieutenant Surge's gym is?
That's Vermilion City.
Really? Yeah. I'm such a fake gamer.
Oh, gosh. So was it the Diglett's Cave? Is that what you went through?
No. This was literally like an underground tunnel, like built. There was.
Oh, that's right. You went through that to get from Cerulean City to Vermilion City. Yes. Yep. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
And I mean, I don't want to give too much away because obviously I want you lovely listeners to go watch this content. But yeah, we did that. There were a lot of battles along the way. We talked to our good boy GV Gary. He just gave us a bunch of stuff because, that's what a rival's supposed to do. Just give you a bunch of free handouts. He's clearly not supposed to berate you and say he's better than you. I don't understand.
He's actually a very disappointing rival.
Go ahead.
I know he's not Gary. I know he's good value Gary, but like I still think he should be doing all like he should be belittling you and saying "smell you later" and stuff like that. Not be like, oh hey Corey, here have some free stuff. I'd be like, thanks. What kind of rival are you?
I don't understand why Nintendo has been following this motive because I don't know a lot about Pokemon Sword and Shield, but I also know that game has a shitty rival. That's like Hop or whatever his name is. I heard is a horrible rival.
Gosh. Yeah, Hop's. I wouldn't say he's a bad rival, but he's a very annoying rival.
His brother is dope. I don't know a lot about Pokemon Sword and
Brother-
Shield, but his
Yeah.
brother is awesome, even though he's got
Well,
like Mountain Dew and Doritos stickers all over his cool
Yeah,
cape thing.
Yeah, he's a big sellout. He's all about it. But yeah, he's he's the champion. That's why he's all like about buy my merch.
Guys, and by guys I mean corporate sponsors, I will tattoo Mountain Dew on my arm if you just give me $1 million, you know. I'll sell out hard, I don't care.
That's a good dare.
But yes, as we continued through the trainers and GV Gary, we had to like ask him out. Well, we didn't really ask him out on a date.
Wait, what?
So
What?
so before we entered the tunnel, on our last episode, we met Bill, and Bill gave us tickets to the SSN or whatever the boat is called.
Boat, yeah.
And we run into GV Gary, and after he gives us like 16 million revives, he's like, "Oh, did you get tickets for the SSN? Oh, you have 2 of them? Who are you going to take?" And literally your 2 options you can pick are, "Oh, one's for you, my best friend," or one's like, "I guess you can have one." You have to bring him with you. You have to let him on.
I'm curious what's the point of like you changing up your tone?
What do you think I picked? I hate that guy.
Yeah.
Sorry, spoiler alert. Go watch the episodes though.
Did he give you a kiss in the cheek after you gave him the ticket? I mean,
he gave me 6 more revives, you know.
That's why.
Maybe if I did the nice one, he'd give me 8. I don't know.
That's fine.
But we made it to Vermilion City. There, I got it right this time.
Vermilion City.
I ran into Ryu, the fighting game character. That was interesting.
Wait, what?
You'll have to watch. You'll have to watch.
I'll have to watch. You're right. No spoilers.
We got some sick clothes. Really cool duds. I love it. Because this was the first point where we actually got different clothes since the beginning of the game. Because you can customize your trainer and you can also dress up Pikachu. Very cool clothes. Digging that. We also went on the boat. Pretty cool. Some weird, sketchy rooms. I'll let you guys find that out. But we met the captain after we beat GV Gary. We crushed him. And the captain showed us his sword, and then he cut down a bush. And now I guess Pikachu can cut down bushes. You know, those like wimpy, like dead bushes that are just a bunch of twigs. That's like, I could easily just kick this out of the way. But no, you got to get the cut move to go past it. So we got the cut equivalent. In Pokemon Let's Go, there are no HMs. Is that what those moves were called? I always get TMs and HMs confused. But when we're like HM, cut and fly, like those moves aren't in the game anymore. In Pokemon Let's Go, in Pokemon Let's Go, your sidekick Pokemon will just learn ways to deal with that. I don't know how Pikachu's going to learn how to fly. I'm curious, or surf even. We'll see when we cross that bridge. But
if you believe hard enough, anything's possible.
I guess you're right. Also seismic toss is super cool. I talked about that on the last episode though. I learned, our Geo bro knows seismic toss. It's cool. But we also actually fought Lieutenant Surge, and it didn't go so well. I think I need to practice. He berated me quite a bit. He called me a baby. He called my Pikachu a baby. We cried. We'll get him next episode. But that's all I'm going to say. You got to watch the rest to see what happens. The actual shenanigans. And it's a good time. Go check that out. Loudstone Entertainment. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu.
All right. 2 things. Number 1, did your buddy Abra fix the audio syncing problem yet? Because I remember I mentioned that to you. I didn't know if you
I informed him. I believe I checked so I watched the episodes you mentioned and they were messed up. But then the episode after that seemed good. So
okay.
I hope it's okay.
Right. Just making sure. Number 2, how old is your buddy Abra?
Abra, I believe he's either my age or a year older, so he's either 26 or 27.
Okay, because then by now he should have evolved into a Kadabra by now. And I believe when he turned 16, he should have evolved. So he must be holding on to an Everstone or something, so that way he's not evolving.
I wish this was a video podcast so you could see the look on my face right now.
Why, are you confused?
No. What? That's such a Pokemon like dad joke.
It was. I was gonna say, and then when in order for him to become a Alakazam, he has to get like new parents or something. That's like he has to be adopted by new parents, and then he'll evolve into an Alakazam.
I did bring up that made me think that I'm not gonna talk about everything on the Let's Play. You got to go watch it, but that made me think of something about that. Anyway, speaking of Let's Plays, hey, we played more of that there Luigi's Mansion 3.
Oh, yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
I love that game so much.
I'm also enjoying that quite a bit. I even was thinking at work, like, I might like that game more than some of the, like, platform, like, Mario games. Like, that game is just really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it definitely rivals, like, games like Odyssey. I mean, Odyssey is great. I love Odyssey, but I think Luigi's Mansion is just there's just so much right with that game. It's so good.
In my notes here, I like to just like write down little buzzwords to help me remember stuff. I put got plunger and goo guy. We got our new mechanics, the plunger. So you shoot out the plunger and then you can pull stuff out of the way. Yeah. And then goo guy is obviously Gooigi, which adds a lot of depth. Like that's one of the things I'm really enjoying about it. Like with these two new elements, and I don't know if there are any more after this. I don't know. But I like these a lot. I think they're cool. There's a lot of neat like puzzles and like even the combat. I actually don't think I got in any combat engagement. Well, I guess Luigi doesn't really do anything like different in combat. He's just Luigi, but yeah. I've really been enjoying that. Also fought our first like official boss, I guess, that dreaded maid who ate the suitcase. How dare she? She didn't even give us any fresh towels. Very, very sad. And we saw Paul Blart. We met him. Well, we didn't meet him yet. We just saw him.
Yeah. We cowered below on the first floor of the mall, the shopping mall area, and then he was scaring himself. Actually,
I was gonna say he was cowering, and then we also doubled down on his cowering. Yeah. It's a wave of cowering. Yeah. Last but not least, oh wait, I actually forgot to. How did I forget to put in Animal Crossing? Oh my goodness, that's like all I've been playing. Wow. But yeah, so I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing. So I mentioned on the podcast, there was a big update that came out on Friday. They added swimming in the game, so now you can go off the island into the waters, and every once in a while you see a couple little bubbles, and if you press the Y button, you dive down and you can pick up the item that's bubbling, which is some sort of sea life, whether that be a horseshoe crab or a sea anemone. There's a lot of fun things you can find in there. They literally just added like a third level to the collection type creature elements. Like, there's fishing and bug catching. Well, now you can also go swimming. And it's kind of interesting because I don't really know how it fits into my cycle of how I play Animal Crossing. Like, I enjoy fishing and bug collecting, and I usually would just do like little laps around my island, like go around the coast and see if there's any fish, while also looking at the trees or around to see if there's butterflies or beetles. But now that there's this whole new mechanic of diving, it's like I kind of have to think of ways to incorporate this into, collecting my stuff. Also, some of those critters are very tough to catch. I was chasing I think it was like a vampire squid or something like that. That's literally its name.
Oh, what?
Look it up. But yeah, it was hard to catch. Like I was having difficult times. Like I almost drowned in the water. I don't think you can actually drown, but yeah. Other than that, though, I think the reason I was really drawn back into this game is like a week or two ago when I was hanging out with Megan's friends. Well, I mean, I'm friends with them too, but we're all hanging out and like showing our islands and houses off. I kind of really enjoyed that. I'm like, I really need to like step up my stuff. Like I kind of had it one way like around the beginning of the game, but there are things I want to do to tweak my little rooms in my house and like my outside area, just my island in general. Like my girlfriend's been working a lot on it because that's like the only game she plays. But I'm like, I really want to add my own like flair and style to this. Like I got some good ideas. Like I'm inspired to like create little like gardens or show like different rooms and stuff like that. So I don't know. That's why I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying decorating and catching bugs, I guess. That's really all you do in Animal Crossing. Oh.
Hey, man, to each your own.
Last but not least, I did also kick out a villager. It was a little cute mouse named Penelope. She has a big pink bow. I didn't kick her out, though. She did say she wants to go be a superstar in the world. And I'm like, hey, queen, follow your dreams. I'm sick of looking at you anyways. You can leave. And now we got a very cute koala lady called Melba. And she's very adorable. I love her. That game's great. That's probably Nintendo's best ongoing game, and I think they're gonna support that game for many years.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Because Animal Crossing is like kind of like a cult game where like people it has such a huge following, and apparently, I'm surprised this wasn't one of the articles we had. Maybe it'll be for next week, but like I guess I'll just mention it now. Animal Crossing is actually now the number one selling Nintendo game of all time in Japan, physically, I think.
That's crazy.
Or maybe for Switch. I'm sorry. I think I got a little bit ambitious there. Switch game is the highest selling Switch game physically in Japan.
Wow.
I think like 5 million copies, physical copies.
That's awesome.
Pretty crazy. Yeah.
Just in Japan, too. Wow, wild.
Oh, yeah. Because people kind of forget, like, Japan is obviously, like, lots more than other countries, but, like, yeah, that says a lot that they had 5 million physical copies in Japan. That's, like, insane. It's good for Animal Crossing. Good for Nintendo.
It's a blast. I even just like cataloging all this stuff. Like whenever they introduce new things, like during every month, there's always like new wildlife that come, like new bugs and new fish. So whenever the month changes, I almost instinctively want to go play Animal Crossing because I'm like, ooh, I got to get all the new critters and donate one to Blathers so he can be terrified of the beetles that I keep giving him. Blathers hates bugs. It's a meme. Every time you give him a bug, he's like shitting his pants scared. He's like, why do I have to accept these bugs? I hate my life.
Why you do this to me?
Okay.
I don't know why I made him sound like Luigi.
We'll work on the Blathers voice. Don't worry. Last but not least, I have one more game here. This is going to be somewhat brief. This was a new game. This is a game I just bought on a whim. Because for those of you who don't know, the Steam summer sale is going on as we speak, which means discount, 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 discount. Insert the Oprah meme here. You get a discount. Everything. Everything's like either 10 cents off or 100 cents off. You know what I'm saying?
A full 100 cents.
So I checked my wish list, and I actually, that's not how it transpired. I was watching Twitch. And I noticed this one game that I kind of have been following slightly over the past few years was getting a lot of views. And I think they kind of did a thing like that Ubisoft game I mentioned. And games will do this from time to time, like the big multiplayer ones, where instead of just giving you a drop for a game code, they'll give you a drop for in-game content for different streamers. So like this weekend, like, Overwatch, if you watch the streamers for a certain period of time, you could get, like, special skins or special, like, icons or stuff like that. That stuff I approve of. I think that's fine. It is a little annoying, especially if there's something you really, really want to get, because you literally can only watch the people to unlock it. There's no other way, but I think that's more fun than literally just game access. But anyways, the game that I'm talking about that I saw actually like in the top like 20 games, which I was surprised, is called Hunt Showdown. I always get the name wrong. It's Hunt Showdown. That's the title. For those of you who don't know what this is, and bear with me because I know how to describe it, but it's going to sound very complicated. It is a first-person horror-themed shooter survival game that it's kind of a Monster Hunter type game. And then it's also a competitive multiplayer game where there are 6 teams of 2 players going around a big map. And you have to leave the area at some point. So it's kind of like there's a lot of things going on right there. I can kind of simplify it a little bit more. And I did get to play a very small amount of this. I played it last night. Unfortunately, I was having some PC issues. I don't know if I talked about this a few weeks ago or not, but my PC was just overheating and crashing. And it did happen twice while I was playing this game, which...
Oh, no, you didn't mention that, Spooky.
No, but it made me really bummed. I'm like, oh no, I hope I can even play this game, or maybe I have to replace something. Luckily, I tweaked some of the settings, and I did get it working. But again, I put maybe 30, a half an hour into this game. I didn't play it for very long. But I did like what was there. Kind of reminds me of Resident Evil 7. If any of you guys have ever seen the first-person horror gameplay of Resident Evil 7, where you kind of are walking around with your gun held up, and then when you aim, it's not aim down sights like in Call of Duty or something. You aim, it's just, there's your crosshair, and it's not that precise. That's kind of what the combat is like. Like you get your primary or secondary weapon, and you also have a slew of other equipment that I really didn't get to mess around with too much, but that's like grenades, health items, there was a knife. And you're kind of like walking around this map, and you have a move you can do, which is called like I think shadow vision, where you can see these like blue like little firefly dots, and that's kind of like your tracks in terms of you're trying to hunt this enemy on the map and get like a token out of it and then leave, and I assume you get some sort of rewards from the token. So the whole point of the game essentially is you're hunting one of two creatures, you get the token, and then you have to leave. But you also have to do that while avoiding the enemies on the map, which there are regular enemies on the map, as well as all the human players. Now, I just played a tutorial, so there was no human enemies on the map. I literally was just trying to like test out the game, and I thought it was fun. You know, it's got a cool theming. It's very horror-esque. Like it's set like I'd say in like the 1800s, so it's not like, you know, you don't have like an AK-47. I had like a revolver and a shotgun, and it was very like slow. You also don't want to really use your guns that much. It's a lot about being more stealthy and quiet. You know, if you shoot too many bullets, you could alert like a lot of the zombie or infected enemies, and they could come like overwhelm you and charge you.
Interesting.
Yes, it's a very interesting game, and I do want to record some content of it once I get to the actual multiplayer part of it, because I'm still in the tutorial, and there's more tutorials I haven't even got to play yet because I was having PC issues. I didn't really get through it all, but so far what I played, I liked it. It's very unique. I have never played a first-person shooter game quite like this, but I really liked it. It was like a multiplayer horror game. It almost reminded me of like kind of like Dead by Daylight or that Friday the 13th game where they're like multiplayer horror games, but this one's a little bit more like a first-person shooter in those regards. And I think there's like a lot of different weapons you can get and different like attachments. Also, like you make a character, you get a character by random, and your character has like stats. Like you pick a character to go into the world, and if that character dies eventually in multiplayer, like you lose that character forever. So I don't know the process of how you keep making new characters. I didn't get that far in it, but what I played, I did enjoy it. I thought it was pretty neat.
Okay.
And with that being said, that was my week.
Awesome. I feel bad because like you, I'm not going to be as I won't be how to describe this. I was going to use the word impressive. I should say like my week has not been very impressive compared to yours gaming wise because I really haven't been doing much. I did play a couple of games. Obviously, we played some Metroid Zero Mission. Again, you guys can go and watch it on the Level With Me channel. So, again, always enjoying that. I hope you're enjoying watching it. In my free time, I have been playing a little bit of other Metroid games. I actually started replaying Metroid Other M, which I know is very controversial in the Metroid, and I think just in the gaming community as a whole. It's like notorious for being like a terrible game, and I don't think it is. I think it's a fun game. I think it's not the best Metroid game, but it's still pretty fun. And it's because I quickly hooked up my Wii and or my Wii U, excuse me. And I just, you know, it's an okay game just to pick up and play. So I was playing that for a little bit this week. Let me see what else. I was actually on my Switch and I was playing a couple of the old games. Like I was actually replaying Super Metroid. I was playing Super Mario World again, just because I always go back to playing these old school games. Again, as I said many times here on Level With Me, I'm a bit of like an old school gamer. I'm always a fan of my Super Nintendo titles, and I really can't get enough of them, even though I play them countless times. Let's see. I actually am still working on playing The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. And so far I'm enjoying it. Definitely not my favorite Zelda game, but you know, I'm sure it's a game. I never played that game when I was younger. I'm sure if I played that when I was a kid, it would have obviously it would have latched on to me a little bit stronger, kind of like how the old games have latched on to me. You know, when you play them as a kid, maybe it's a bit of nostalgia, but like, you know, the game, I definitely appreciate the game for what it is. But it's yeah, I'm going to keep playing it. I'm sure when I'm done and when I'm through it, I'll love it and I'll appreciate it.
What is like something about that game that like you're not like loving? I guess is the word.
I think it's like in many cases when you go back and try to play the old games, it being a victim of the time when it came out is kind of what's making me think like the controllers are a little bit tight. The graphics again, I appreciate games graphic wise. Like I've like delved, like my brain can like appreciate graphics because I know you have to take you have to take this in and like, take it in as this is the early '90s. This game is beautiful for those times, and I can understand that. It's made, and this comes down to a game like Super Metroid. Like I mentioned before, that's a game where if you're not a Metroid fan, or I should say, yeah, if you're not a Metroid fan but you want to get into Metroid, you should not play. In my opinion, you should not play a game like Metroid, like Super Metroid first. Even though it's considered to be the greatest game of all time, I do think it's a victim of when it came out. It's just it's an older game. The controls are a little bit. I think it's the worst part about Super Metroid are the controls. They're just archaic. They're good. They introduce good things. They introduce like how you can select between different weapons, but the controls are they're very stiff in some cases. The floaty jumps, the controls when you're trying to change Samus's direction in midair. So that's why I always say play the more refined games and then go back and play Super Metroid when you've already become a fan. So that way you can appreciate the game more because it does have all of the features and all the assets that you love about Metroid in that game. They're all there, but it's obscured by the control scheme. So the same with Zelda, like the Link to the Past. This is a game that incorporated so many big things into the Zelda universe. You know, I mean, I would say even Link, the Adventure of Link, Zelda 2 also incorporated a lot of like new things. But this is the game that introduced some of the iconic weapons like the hook shot. I think. Well, God, now I'm starting to sound like an idiot, but like this game incorporated a lot of the iconic weapons and upgrades that Link has. It introduced settings and locations like Kakariko Village. It gave us like a true Hyrule Castle. Like there's so much about that game that's amazing, and I'm loving every second of it so far. It's just when I'm playing the game, it's like, oh gosh, I can only imagine trying to play this game at the time, like back in the early '90s, and you would just be okay with the control scheme. But like because I've played more modern 2D Zelda games, like I guess you can like the Link's Awakening remake. I played Spirit Tracks. I played a couple of those games. So when you go back and play a game like A Link to the Past, although everything so far about the game is amazing and I love the game for what it is, it's just the control scheme is a little bit stiff, and that's kind of where I'm just like, oh, that's the one thing holding this game back. But that's not the game's fault. That's just it being a victim of the times, you know?
Something about that game that is kind of... you can tell it's a little dated. Is I feel like just the pace that like Link moves around is so slow. You really need to get those Pegasus boots to start like being like, okay, now we can start getting shit done.
I was gonna say, yeah. Once you get the Pegasus boots, then you can kind of like fast travel, somewhat. You know, even in Link's Awakening, which is the other like more recent game I've been playing Zelda-wise, like Link's not too quick, but once you get the Pegasus boots, like, oh, finally, I can kind of like dash across this map now. You know,
right? Yep.
Fast traveling, like the actual fast traveling aside, like that, it helps speed the game up a little bit. Mm-hmm. All I'm saying is, like, I'm sure if I was a young kid and I played Zelda 1, then Zelda 2, then A Link to the Past, I would have appreciated the progression, But technically, for me, I'm kind of going backwards. Even though I acknowledge this is the game that like became the first gigantic, like, amazing Zelda game, especially on the popular Super NES. I'm playing the game backward. I'm playing the series backward way. I mean, technically, it's actually one of the only Zelda games I've ever played, like console-wise. So,
we're just talking about that game, and I'm just like thinking about. I love the sounds in that game. Like, I love when you get the Master Sword and you get that beam. It's like,
yeah, like even like sound bit wise, like it gives you some of the more iconic like sound effects and stuff that you hear. It's great. Again, I love the game. I do. I see why people love this game so much. I'm just thinking, like, man, I wish basically what I'm saying is I wish I played this game when I was a kid, because then I think I would appreciate it more.
I will say this. That's probably hang on. That's probably my second favorite Zelda game, definitely worse looking Link. He's really weird looking in Link to the
pink
Past.
hair.
Yeah, I know. I don't get it.
Yeah, not a bad thing is, I mean, hey, Samus in like her first game had green hair. Like,
it's a good point. Good point.
Yeah. But anyway, what was I gonna say? But yeah, so that's how I've been playing, and that's basically it. I definitely want to continue playing Subnautica. I plan to play some more of that this week, so that way I can upload that for the Let's Play channel. Can't wait to start playing some more Metroid Zero Mission when you can watch me do that. So yeah, that's basically it. I was still kind of going through like moving mode because we're still like unboxing a few things over the last week, and I've also been doing a lot of like work in the house itself. Like the electrical work in the house has been pretty crappy, so I've been like replacing outlets and light switches and everything. So definitely didn't. I had to prioritize my play games, which I didn't have a lot of it. Plus, it was the holiday weekend, so I was spending time with like friends and everything. But I think that's basically it as far as playing. Now, for watching, I haven't really been watching anything crazy. Hamilton was something I was probably going to watch with Amanda, but I think she wants to watch it with her mom, and I said that's perfectly fine. She can go watch it with her mom, and I'll, it's not going to make me mad. I really don't desire to watch it. I'll watch it if I feel like it. But
sure, right.
One thing I have watched recently, this is a bit weird, but I actually watched a fan-made Zelda intro. Now, this is a bit arbitrary compared to what we normally talk about, but because I was playing A Link to the Past, I actually was going on YouTube before, and I know I've seen this before, but I wanted to rewatch it, and I swear it blows my mind of just how amazing this intro video is. Now, this is, again, I am a sinner for saying this, but I have not fully beaten Majora's Mask yet. And I know that's considered to be one of the best Zelda games ever created, and believe me, I know a lot about the game, but I never actually sat down and played through the whole game itself, and that is a goal of mine to do. However, I know the story, I know the plot, and I have to say, if you're a fan of Majora's Mask, I want you to look this up. I actually have it right here, I think. No, that's not it. Let me, in 1 second, unfortunately, again, for the listener, Corey can be kind enough to leave the URL in the YouTube description or on Podbean, but there is a fan-made trailer, and I'm going to leave you the link right now. It's called Majora's Mask: A Terrible Fate. Just a little fan-made intro to the very beginning of the game, and I really can't talk much about it because if you don't know what the story is, I don't really want to spoil it. But basically, for the listeners, Majora's Mask is a very unique Zelda game because, and I'm sure Corey knows this, many of you other people know this, there's no Zelda, there's no Ganondorf. This is a very unique Zelda game where it takes place basically outside of Hyrule, but there's a few like Zelda people. We see it like the Gorons are here, the Zoras are here, but Link is now basically fighting a new enemy, Majora's Mask, which is a mask that's like the mask that I think it belonged to like a witch doctor or something. So the mask has very dark powers, and the story begins with the Skull Kid, who's a very iconic character from Ocarina of Time, I think, and a lot of Zelda games. He actually comes across the mask, puts it on, and it possesses him, and that's basically like the main villain for the game. This trailer is a fan-made intro to Majora's Mask, and if you've watched the trailer and the actual intro for Majora's Mask on the N64, I promise you, this is not only visually impressive, but it captures the true. It captures everything about Majora's Mask. The epicness of the story, the intensity, the darkness of the story, because Majora's Mask is not only considered to be one of the greatest Zelda games for game mechanics and the world building, but it's also just because the tone of the game is so dark and scary, almost disturbing-like. So, Corey, you will really appreciate this video. I implore you to watch it.
So first of all, I want to say, wow, yeah, he's right. This video is available in 4K, so if you want to watch this on a 4K TV, which I probably will do after this podcast is over.
Yeah, Corey, you'll love it, I promise you.
I'm going to be completely honest, though. I never played Majora's Mask, so...
Oh, you haven't? Okay, cool, then. Then I don't feel as bad. I don't feel as alone.
But it's really cool. I'm watching it right now. It's very well done. It almost reminds me of like the visuals that like Blizzard will do in front of like Diablo or StarCraft.
Yeah, very very high quality. Yeah, and again, I'm pretty sure it was fan made. I don't know who the fan was or anything. I kind of just found it on YouTube one day. But yeah, it's really cool. Impressive. Yeah.
Oh, that being said, should we get into our questions here?
Yes, we should. Because that's all I have to really contribute. But now, here I'm bringing up my questions. Corey has a question that he got from Instagram.
I do, yes. Let me pull it up right now. All right, so this is from Owen. Oh, wait. Before we do any of this, if any of you listeners would also like to send us a question, you can either email us at levelwithmepodcast@gmail.com. If you want to like just copy it or look for it, it's in the description everywhere. Or a couple days, usually the Sunday or the Monday before we do the podcast, on our Instagram, we'll do a little questionnaire where we'll want questions about anything. You can send us a question about video games, about collectibles, about food, or whatever, anything to just give us a little like interaction, give us something to talk about. But if you send us a question and we read it, we'll also give you a little shout out. So as I was going to say, this is from Owen Reese, and his question is, most initiative open world games of all. Now,
most initiative open world games?
Yes, I need to actually look up what initiative means. Or innovate? Was it innovative?
Probably innovative is probably what he's thinking of.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought too.
Initiative, that doesn't really make sense. Innovative makes sense.
Well, I mean, we're just talking about Zelda, and I'm going to be biased and say Breath of the Wild was a pretty big one. I think a lot of games are going to look at Breath of the Wild, and I mean, you can kind of see that already. Like, Ubisoft is making a new game called Gods and Monsters or something like that. And it literally just looks like Breath of the Wild, like even to the graphical design. Like it's that kind of cartoony / realistic. Like, yeah, I think a lot of people are going to learn or kind of be inspired by that, because Breath of the Wild pretty much took what the open world genre was and made it so like freeform. Like there's no guides there. I'm not saying it's like easy or hard, like difficulty aside. It's that you can just do whatever you want. Like they don't even tell you where to go. You could go to the Garuda or the desert, whatever. I don't know locations. I'm bad with that kind of stuff. But you could go there right away from the beginning. You could go to the Zora temple right away from the beginning. There's no right path in the Breath of the Wild, and I think that's one of the reasons I appreciate it so much.
No, I agree. You were only limited by your own capabilities.
I have another good example, but continue.
No, I was going to say, like, basically, the way I can describe it, and I was probably going to say Breath as well, because it basically was a modernization of the original Zelda formula of true non-linearity. And again, like, you can do whatever you want in any order. You're only limited by what you believe you're capable of doing, which is, cause again, like I mean, unlike the original Zelda game where you kind of are like gated, where you do have to get certain upgrades, they kind of go a little bit one step further with this game, because like you can go and fight Ganon first. You can go right to go fight Ganon. The only thing I think the only thing is truly mandatory is you have to get the runes, like for the Sheikah Slate, because I think you have to have the glider. I don't think you can survive the fall off of the Great Plateau.
Right.
So that's the only thing that's like somewhat mandatory. But technically, you can go and get them in any order as well. Like the game is so non-linear, and that's why I think it's so innovative. Not saying that non-linearity is like a new concept, but it's like to bring that to a modern game is just great. That's all I have to say.
So, I was thinking as my other example, I kind of jumped straight to Fallout 3, but I don't even know if like that's the right starting point, because Bethesda has, I don't know what was their first kind of game like that. Like it might have been Morrowind. I think Oblivion was one that came before. Oblivion 2? Yeah, exactly, yeah. Like, I think, because Fallout 3, Oblivion did come out before Fallout 3.
It did, yeah, because Fallout 3 was Oblivion. The meme was Fallout 3 is Oblivion with guns.
That's yes. Personally, Fallout 3, though, was, like, huge for me. Like, I've never played a game like that. It's funny, the first time I ever played Fallout 3, I was probably, like, 13 or 12, and, like, I wasn't even ready for that kind of game. Like, I played it, I'm like, this is so slow. Like, I wanted more action. Like, I was used to playing Halo, and I honestly probably wanted something like a Call of Duty. But then, like, a year or two later, all my friends were talking about how much fun they had playing Fallout 3, and I'm like, I didn't get into it. Like, I don't know. And they're like, no, go try it again. And I love the Fallout series. I mean, I love most of the RPGs that Bethesda does. Skyrim is fantastic. I mean, I'm sure that's influenced many people. I mean, I feel like Skyrim almost like broke boundaries where that almost became a very casual game. Like at the time when Skyrim came out, it was as big as like Fortnite is right now. And that's a single player RPG game. Like that's pretty impressive.
No, I agree. It's funny. I hate to piggyback on. It's definitely a game that I was like. I wasn't familiar with like the Oblivion game. And,
especially before like Morrowind and Fallout 3. Like they used to be like top-down RPGs. When they made them first person, they definitely like revolutionized that whole genre. Yeah,
it's funny. Like people don't kind of forget. Like there actually is a Fallout 1 too, but they're nothing like Fallout 3. Fallout 3 again like took the third person huge the first person third person huge world exploration type. Basically, again, it took like the Elder Scrolls skeleton and just made it like here's the like almost steampunk-esque 50s aesthetic look with guns, and it worked out phenomenally. And it's funny because that was a game where again I wasn't really familiar with the series, but someone said, "Dude, play Fallout 3," and I'm like, "Oh, well," and I think I said play Fallout 2. Was like, "Dude, you don't have to just play Fallout 3," and so because you don't have to play the first ones. And yeah, the game like that type of game, I love this type of I love exploration games. I love them so much. Like FPEs, first-person explorer games, I love them so much. Technically, you did it to shooter too, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. To kind of like wrap a bow around this like Bethesda talk, I do think it was the fact that they made the RPGs like first-person perspective. I think that just made it more like immersive. So that's like I think the thing that made it very innovative for the time. Whatever the first one was, I think Morrowind was in first person. I never played Morrowind. I don't even know when it came out. Like I think the early 2000s. But yeah, like I think Bethesda really like revolutionized that stuff. Do you have anything else to add, or should we move on to your questions?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I feel bad. Again, I kind of just said ditto to whatever you said.
No, that's fine.
They were for me personally. They were like hugely.
Mike, I get it. I know. I'm a big smart guy. Got that gamer knowledge.
All right. Well, let's not get too carried away.
Before we end this, though, I want to say thank you, Owen, for writing in.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for contributing. We'll give him. Here's your shout out. What's his name again? His full name on Twitter.
Let me look it up real quick on
Instagram.
Let's see here. I believe it was Owen Reese, but I want to get it exactly right. I will put these in the description if you link me the other people who sent you questions. But his is Owen Reese, and there's an underscore.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine, and I'll forward you the people that I have questions for. So that works.
That works. Yep.
Cool. Well, thank you, Owen, for your question. We appreciate it.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I was going to say, would you like to get into your questions now? Well,
sure.
They're questions submitted from your followers.
Right. I know what you're saying. Yeah, we have 3 questions today, which is crazy. Now these are all card and collectible related, but these are definitely things that you can also answer as well. We'll answer these together. So this question comes from Union Josh Yu-Gi-Oh, and his question is simply put: what is your favorite synchro monster?
I can definitely answer this one.
Yeah. Now, for the listeners who are not familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh, Synchro Monsters are a type of card that was introduced in the 3rd generation of Yu-Gi-Oh. They introduced an incredibly unique summoning mechanic where you can basically just summon any deck could just summon giant boss monsters. It was really cool. The cards have really cool aesthetics and looks, and there were a lot of iconic ones that were in the TV show. So anyway, Corey, who is your favorite Synchro Monster?
All right, so
or what is?
My mind just initially honestly went to Stardust Dragon, and I feel like that's kind of basic. And I don't know if I'm just thinking that because he's just a very practical, like, synchro monster in himself. Like, he's a good card. But at the same time, yes, he's just the icon. He's the Dark Magician of the 5Ds era. I mean, I'll show my bias and I'll talk about my Infernity love. Void Ogre Dragon. He's technically not Infernity, but he's pretty badass.
He might as well be Infernity monster.
Yeah.
He has.
I also do just love Infernity Doom Dragon. He's so weird looking, and I love him for that.
I think it's like dreadlocks.
He does have dreadlocks. He has also like claw arms, but then also like little T-Rex arms. He's very odd. I'm gonna pull a picture of him up right now, but yeah,
I remember him. He was a pretty cool. He was a powerful though. Like he was like because he could like kill things and deal damage, and he was obviously gigantic. And him being backed up by your good old Infernity barriers, it was pretty tough back in the old days.
Shoutouts too. He was the card on Infernity barrier. Oh, also just looking through. I mean, I love the 5Ds era was my favorite era of Yu-Gi-Oh! I love Synchro Monsters, so I could keep going down the list. I mean, I just searched Infernity Doom Dragon, and I see 100 Eyes Dragon. I mean, he's super cool. He is really neat because even in the anime, he was the first like dark synchro that they showed off, and it was like, this is a thing.
Yeah, the negative levels or whatever. That was kind of interesting.
If you want to go, I'm just going to search like more synchro monsters, and I might just like add some more. I mean, I guess I technically didn't pick one. If I pick one, I'll say Void Ogre Dragon.
Okay. Yeah, I could definitely pick my favorite because like when I got back into the game, it was definitely during the 5Ds era as well. Like I missed all of the GX era, which is kind of a shame. But in college, I got back into the Yu-Gi-Oh! During the 5Ds era, and it was late in the 5Ds era. It was actually right when Absolute Power Force came out. And but I really didn't get like an actual deck that played synchros up until Star Strike Blast, which is actually one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh sets, and that introduced the Karakuris. And I have to say my favorite synchro monster is the Karakuri Shogun model XX, and I know the name by heart because it's my favorite. Karakuri Shogun model XX Beret. He is really cool looking. Like basically the Karakuris, for the listeners who don't know, are like they are based off of like some kind of like Japanese like robotic like puppets or whatever. They're essentially wooden robots. They're robots made of wood. They have a really cool look. They all have like these like almost like C-3PO eyes somewhat, but they're just like they look like just like flashlights for eyes. And they all have they also almost look like as if their bodies are made of barrels, like wooden barrels. And they all have like there's like samurai Karakuris. There's like one that's a merchant. And the main synchro monster was Beret, and he was like the Shogun, which is like a Japanese general, and he looked really cool. He had like the Shogun helmet, which almost looks like a Viking helmet. He has his Shogun fan, which is like it sounds silly, but yeah, like in Japanese culture, the Shoguns had like a fan that they would kind of hold. It almost looks like a guitar, as if you were holding the guitar by the neck. I guess that's what's called, the neck. But anyway, yeah, he was a really cool card. He was very powerful because he was just a really, really strong and aggressive card. And I liked aggressive playstyles when I played the game. So I'll have to give it to Karakuri Beret. He was definitely he's probably was and still is my favorite synchro monster of all time.
I'm just, like I said, I was looking through just synchro monsters to refresh my memory. I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh! In a few years. Of course, shoutouts to Black Rose Dragon. Not even just being a nuke, but beautiful artwork. Just a black and red like rose dragon. Yeah, Black Rose Dragon's super cool looking. The art
design on that is very good. I will kind of chime back to what we said with Stardust. Stardust is a really nice. It's a very, very. I hate using the word pretty, but it's a very pretty looking card. Like I just think Stardust looks cool in general. You know?
No, I agree. Of course. Go ahead.
I would say especially the Ghost Rare versions of the Synchro Monsters, because the Synchro Monsters, again, for those who don't know, the card borders are all white. So then the Ghost Rares, which are also like essentially white looking, it looks really cool seeing like that white on white look.
I mean, we could keep going here, but last but not least, I also just want to shout out all the ice barrier monsters like Trishula, Brianna,
they're all
Lauren. You know, they're all great.
Oh yeah. Oh,
and then that's how I got my boy Ophion and all the evil swarms. But that's not the question.
Yeah. I will say one thing I do love is I love the Naturia synchro monsters.
Yes,
I'm a big fan of Naturia Beast, Naturia Barkion, even Naturia Landois, who no one ever remembers. I think they just look cool.
I even love the Rivals main monster, Red Dragon Archfiend. He's a red dragon, and he's got Archfiend in the name, so...
Yeah, he's very cool. I like him too.
All right, thank
All
you.
right.
What was his name? Union Josh?
Yep, Union Josh _ Yu-Gi-Oh. So
Okay,
thank you. So thank you, Union Josh. We'll definitely give you we'll definitely make sure we mention you in the description.
Yes.
The next question, again, all card related. This is basically the same question, but now this is from Baby Dragon 48, and he asks, "What is your favorite card in all of Yu-Gi-Oh?"
Okay. That one's a little more vague.
Yeah, I know, but a good question though. I mean, I can definitely tell you what my favorite one is, but do you need time to think about yours, Corey?
I know mine.
Okay.
Mine. If you're an avid listener and we talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, I mention this card every time, Infernity Archfiend. I just love the gimmick that you can top deck this card and like literally win the duel.
Just win the game.
And I can't tell you how many times I've done that. Yeah. And I felt so good. Excuse me.
Oh no, it's the worst. Like, I remember, especially whenever I played you, and it's like because I get this tell the look on your face when you top deck Archfiend. It's like, oh my god, I just walked out.
You could explain it. Go ahead.
No, it's your card in your deck. I'll let you explain it.
For those of you who don't know, what an Infernity Archfiend does is if he's the only card you draw, like, and you have no cards in your hand, you can special summon him, which is basically like an additional summon during your turn. And he also lets you search your deck for any Infernity card. And Infernities are known for having many cards that's like, hey, if you tribute this, you get 2 more Infernity monsters out of your graveyard, which basically just gives you tons and tons of advantage to simplify it.
Yeah. It's pretty insane. They can snowball very quickly.
If I would have to pick a second favorite card, it's not Ophion, honestly. I really like Dante of the Burning Abyss. I think he looks really cool. I like his simplistic, like he's just a dude, but I like how he looks. And I also just enjoy like his effect of like he mills card, like he's a very useful card for that archetype, and then if he dies, you get a card. Like I just think he's a well-made card. Yeah,
he's definitely. I would definitely agree. Like, and none of his effects are hard once per turns, which basically means like in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, they have to some of the cards are so powerful that they basically say you can only use this card once. But he was a card that basically all of his effects can be used multiple times, and that was pretty crazy even for the time when he came out. He is probably one of the most well designed, and probably I would say even to this day, one of probably the most powerful cards in the game, because he just did so much for so many decks, not just the Burning Abyss deck.
True.
Like so many decks would use him just for the mill.
Yeah, it's very strong.
Yeah.
All right, what about you, Mike?
I have a couple. I would say I definitely have my number one, and but I would say my favorite cards of all time probably have to be Insector Hornet, who was basically the centerpiece for this whole deck that was like one of my favorites when it came out. I'm not a big fan of bugs, but I always found bugs to be somewhat interesting. And this is an archetype basically of a deck that they are actually based on like a similar thing like Power Rangers in Japan called the Kamen Riders. Just imagine the Power Rangers, but they're focused on being bugs, like all bug suits and everything. That's kind of what these guys are. And as lame and corny as that looked, this deck when it first came out was so powerful because like Insector Hornet was again the centerpiece because it was a card that basically says you can send me to the just to make it easy for you guys to understand, you can discard me from the field. Like so, just send him to the discard pile from the field to destroy any card in the field, and it can be used multiple times in the same turn while letting your other Insectors gain additional effects. It was pretty insane and very snowball, is similar to Corey's Infernity Archfiend play. And Insectors are still one of my favorite decks of all time. So Hornet is definitely like one of my favorite cards. He's just because he is the deck. So,
he's hella cool. I love Hornet too.
Yeah, his art is pretty cool because he has like a stinger. He's kind of what looks like a rocket launcher on it, but it's just a giant stinger because he's the Hornet. It's kind of cool. Another one is these are all cards from my favorite archetypes. Beret is also one of my favorites because again he's a character created monster. Like he's just a great looking card. I have like multiple copies of him, like the the ultimate rare version. I have so many of those. Another one is definitely Gladiator Beast Heraclinos, who is basically the boss monster for the Gladiator Beast archetype. Again, I didn't play during the GX era, but I've always heard, like, when I was getting back in the game during 5Ds, I heard of like the stories about how good Gladiator Beasts were and how they were like the best deck ever. And so eventually, when the cards were being like reprinted in the Legendary Collection 2, the GX version of Legendary Collection, I was cool because all the cards came holographic. And I'm like, oh wow, I love the way that these cards look, and I learned to love the deck. And their boss monster, which is just a gigantic, basically he's a gigantic gladiator, of a lion's head, but I think like a rhino legs and like a sea serpent's tail, and like he's just a giant, like basically like a chimera, but he looks so cool and badass, and he was powerful too. He was a gigantic monster that basically negates spells and traps. So he was basically like a boss monster. Once you get out, it's like your opponent's gonna struggle trying to kill him. But yeah, I think I just love his art. His art aesthetic was so cool, especially in his secret rare look. It looked really sick. But my favorite card of all Yu-Gi-Oh, and I had to probably the Lady of the Lake, which is a card that never really saw a lot of play in Noble Knights. Now, Noble Knights were another one of my favorite decks of all time, and now. Actually, Corey, you might not know this, but now Noble Knights are getting a whole new deck. They're like Fire Noble Knights, and apparently,
I did see something about that.
Yeah, apparently they're very good too in Japan. So when we get them, I'm sure they'll be like a very good deck. But basically, when Noble Knights first started out, they were like a really unique archetype because they were basically like a North American. Well, it's called TCG exclusive, which means that Japan did not Konami of Japan did not design this. It was Konami of North America and Europe, I believe, who designed these cards, and they're based off of the Knights of the Round Table, like King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, and they were all great artwork, really cool mechanics. They had cards that were some of their legendary swords. They were all based off of the legendary Knights. They actually based on the Knights of the Round Table, and I've always liked the Arthurian legend, so it's kind of cool seeing this. And eventually, there was a set that came out called Shadow Specters, which gave us the most amount of support for the deck all at once. Where we actually got like King Arthur and his like really cool like XYZ like rank 5 form. It actually gave us a Synchro Monster, which is basically based off of Lancelot, which is really cool. And again, according to be accurate to the lore of the Arthurian legend, they gave us the Lady of the Lake, who basically is. I'm not going to get into it, but basically, just go Google the Lady of the Lake in Arthurian legend, and you can see it for yourself. But regardless, it was a really cool card that was super hyped up when it came out, but I just fell in love with the art. It's a really, really amazingly drawn card of a blonde woman who's, I guess, like the spirit of the Lake of Avalon, and you see her holding what is essentially Excalibur, in the Excalibur that Yu-Gi-Oh made up, called Excalibur and whatever. But if you guys want to look it up, it's my favorite card of all time. It came in secret rare, which is like that rainbow looking holographic rarity. It looks so nice, and I just had to say I played that card. Not many people played that card in Noble Knights when it came out because the card was kind of it was definitely underwhelming. But I always tried to make the. I just wanted to play it. It felt so great to play. I love the way the card looked. I love the story behind the whole, the lore of the card. So everything about the card I love. And I also have multiple copies of that card. I think I've shared it before in one of my YouTube videos. I have like two or three pages of this card. So yeah, definitely of all time, I'll have to say it's Lady of the Lake.
I've just been looking through to jot my memory, and I don't want to take this question on too much longer, but
no, that's fine.
Shout outs to cards like Evil Swarm, Exciton Knight, super dope, like Roach, Demon, Bug, Warrior Guy. If you want to look him up, he's super cool. Also, just a really good card. Rescue Rabbit, this adorable little bunny with a little walkie-talkie and helmet and goggles. He's great. It's a very simple artwork, but yeah, also a very good card. We really only talked about monsters, so we do have to shout out other cards. I actually love the artwork of Monster Reborn. That's like the crest or the sword.
That jewel or whatever it is.
I think that thing's really cool. I always love that. And Mirror Force, like the original Mirror Force, I thought that was really neat.
I do like that too.
Also, again, maybe a basic bitch answer, but I love Tour Guide. I just love dark fiend monsters, and I love how she's like, it's kind of out of nowhere again, almost like Rescue Rabbit. Like she's like this little anime like character.
Corey, you're such a basic bitch.
All right, what's our next question?
All right, so anyway,
our last question. Ooh,
but that was from Baby Dragon 48. So thank you very much,
Baby Dragon 48.
The last question is actually a Pokemon card related question, a more modern. So this one might be a little bit out of your range, but regardless, we're still going to answer it. This is from Dr. Cards on Instagram, and it was, what are our thoughts on the current amount of secret rares and hyper rares and other high rarity cards basically in Pokemon today? Now, I'm not too familiar with modern Pokemon cards. I'm more of a fan of the old stuff, but I do know, I'll just to help Corey, because I'm not sure if Corey's very familiar with this at all.
I'm not, nope.
So basically, like similar to Yu-Gi-Oh, there are different rare Pokemon cards. Like one thing that they do, which a lot of other card games do and Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't, are the full arts, where it's just like an alternative version of a card, but like the artwork kind of goes through the entire card, and the card text is like just amongst the artwork. It's actually it can look really cool, the card itself. So I guess the best way to answer your question is, what are our thoughts on the current amounts? I believe in a box of, and if you were to buy like a standard box of Pokemon nowadays, I believe you're not guaranteed a hyper rare and you're not guaranteed a secret rare. The secret rares are, I think just to let you know, Corey, there's four cards in the set are chosen to be secret rares, which just means it's like an alternative look. It's an alternative artwork, and the card's like all gold looking. It has like a, similar to the Ultimate Rares. It has a very like felty material to it, like a felty feel to it. It just basically is a very, very pretty version. Some of them are just most of them that I've seen are just very basic versions of like trainer cards or like Pokeballs and stuff, and they look really cool. And if they are, again, similar to Yu-Gi-Oh, if they are a very good and playable card that come in the secret rarity, then they're obviously expensive because people want them. I don't really think there's anything crazy about their numbers, because I always feel sometimes the secret rares are really random cards. Again, I don't really know, like, it could be a card that I'm not very familiar with. I don't know how good it is in the current game, but similar to Yu-Gi-Oh, I do hate it when cards that are just not good are given these high rarity treatments. I'm sure Corey can relate to that. Like, where like, remember, like certain cards got the ultimate rare treatment, and it's like, why does this card come in ultimate rare? It's just not a good card. It doesn't look good in ulti. Yeah. So that's one thing I kind of can relate to with secret rares being like similar to ultimate rares in Yu-Gi-Oh. Now, hyper rares are really unfortunate because hyper rares are similar to the ghost rares of Yu-Gi-Oh. Hyper rares, it's a full art of a Pokemon. I think it comes in trainers too, but like, the Pokemon are trainers. I don't think it ever comes in like an actual item card. Like, I don't think there's any hyper rare Pokeballs or anything, but I'm sure you can look it up, Corey, if you want to. Hyper rares are full art cards that also come in a really crazy rainbow rarity where the entire card looks like it's rainbow colored or like really like trippy looking. It's some of them can look really cool. Some can look okay. One of the more popular ones in the last 5 years is the hyper rare. There's multiple versions of hyper rare Charizard. There's just a plain good art.
All right, this looks pretty cool. I'm digging this.
Yeah, it is sometimes coined rainbow rare because again it's a rainbow. But yeah, hyper rare Charizard is one of the iconic ones that we've seen, and there's plenty more. But again, the problem is there are so many cards that come in. Like I don't know the actual number, but like I think up to like 8 or 10 Pokemon can come in. And again, maybe Dr. Cards can, and many Pokemon fans can correct me if I'm right or wrong, but I'm pretty sure up to like 10 cards can come in hyper rare. So similar to the ghost rares, you're not guaranteed to get one per box, but if you do, this unfortunately gives you a bit of variance. So it's like, yeah, everyone wants hyper rare Charizard, and even today that card's worth like several $100s in near mint condition. So, but like, let's say you finally do pull hyper rare, and like God knows how many packs you open up. It might be of a really cool looking Pokemon, but maybe the card is like $10, which does not scale properly with the card like the Charizard and stuff. So I would say, I hope we're answering your question, and Corey can chime in obviously if he wants to. But
I was going to ask. Sorry, I was going to ask. Can you repeat his question again? Sorry, I was
the
being a
question
little
is,
bombarded by all this information.
no, I'm sorry. That's my fault. So the question is, what are our thoughts on the current amounts of secret rares and hyper rares, like the alternative high rarity Pokemon cards in the game today? And that's what I was just trying to say. Like, I'm sure this kind of translates over to Yu-Gi-Oh! With like how there's all these crazy alternative rarities that are available. So what are our thoughts on that?
I mean, I feel like I kind of agree with what you were saying. Like, considering how rare these are, they should all kind of be somewhat equivalent. I mean, I don't know, competitive Pokemon. Like, I don't know if that Charizard is valuable because
good. I don't. It's probably not a good card, but it's just because I think
it's cool. It's Charizard. That's always it's been manufactured to be the most rare. Going back to the original OG pack.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of. I mean, I'm just gonna chime in and looking at some of these hyper rares. There's really cool ones. Like there's one here that's like Mew and Mewtwo. There's one that's the three original birds, Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno. And I'm just not a Gen 1er. I do love all the like new Pokemon too, but those are just Gen 1 it's in my heart. I was looking for Tyranitar's. Bummed to not see Tyranitar.
Don't worry, there are hyper Tyranitar's.
I'll have to give that a search then. You can answer if you'd like.
No, see, look, they do exist and they are very cool looking. I love those. They're not very expensive, but I feel that just makes it easier for me to pick them up because they're cool looking. But I would say like I guess to kind of I agree with what Corey was saying, and just to kind of somewhat answer the question when it comes to all these different amounts of like secret rares, hyper rare Pokemon, these alternative rarities, I think they're cool for the game. I think it's great to make cool cards look even cooler. It's good to make cards that are playable, like cards that people want. It's great that they really show appreciation for the cards. Yu-Gi-Oh! Also does something similar where they basically reprint sets where they reprint a card as a higher rarity to like say, oh, this card was a common, but now it's a higher rarity just to make it look nice. But it is kind of a shame that like there's so many cards that come that basically are just undervalued in my opinion. Like it might be 20 years before some of these hyper rares are even worth any money because like some of them again are really cool. Even like the card Corey just mentioned, the Tyranitar hyper rare. I love the card; it looks so nice. But I think that card's probably like under $20 or under $30 probably right now. I mean, I haven't checked in a while, but it's probably a card that probably won't really see any like high value or appreciation until maybe 20 years in the future, or 10, or maybe even let's say 10 years in the future when the cards become vintage, like quote unquote. So. I don't know. I think these rarities are a good thing, but I think they probably should maybe. I don't know because you can't say well make more rarities because then they'll become so abundant that they'll be cool, but then their value goes away, and maybe that's for good or for worse because maybe some people want them to be cheaper. Maybe because I mean believe me, I wish the Charizard Hyper Rare was cheaper because now it's a cool looking card. I'm sure a lot of people want it, but it's just unattainable. For a reasonable price. But then you got on the other hand, there's plenty of cards that are available. I mean, if people like these rarity cards, just get them. If it's $20, but hey, it's the Pokemon you love, yeah, get it in that rarity. It looks nice. Like appreciate the card just for the artwork. That's kind of how I am with these things.
I was kind of just looking through the different rarities because I'm very unfamiliar with Pokemon. Like, I literally haven't collected any of the cards since the original packs, like in the early 90s, late or early 2000s, So I had to check all the different rarities.
Yeah.
So
I know.
Correct me.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but for these hyper rares, you said there's like one. It's like the ghost rare kind of like one secret rare essentially will be a hyper rare.
Well, I think it's more like any four. I think like 4 particular cards can come in secret rare, which is just like a really like shiny. Like it's kind of like the ultimate rare. But the hyper rares are
okay.
But there's more possible hyper rare cards that you can get. But I think there's maybe like one per box. I don't know the actual ratios, but I'm pretty sure you're not guaranteed a hyper in a box. Maybe one every 2 boxes.
Okay, all right, I get it now. All right. Yeah, I think it's okay right now. I mean, personally, when you were explaining Yu-Gi-Oh, how many different rarities they are, I feel like right now it seems like Pokemon doesn't have too many. But if they continue to do this kind of stuff, it might get alarming. But
yeah.
At the end of the day, sorry, I just want to finish my point. I'm sorry, but I was just gonna say, if you can get the cards easier, and all this really is just, I guess, prettying your deck up, like getting a nice like Charizard or whatever you're using them for, whether it's collecting or competing. I don't really see a problem with it. That's all. I'm done.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I forget those Dr. Cards, and maybe the question was, yeah, I think that those are our thoughts on those kind of like rarities. You know, they're good, but I think I guess I guess like, you know, we can have our opinions, but then there's plenty of people who would think differently, thinking like, oh, there's too many of these, or there's not enough of these.
Yeah, I'm no expert. I'm probably wrong.
Yeah. And
Dr. Cards, please send us a question next week about Magic, the trading card game.
Oh yeah, the one that both of us are not familiar with.
I played Magic for like a month during high school.
Okay, so
I know how to play Magic. I just don't know anything about it.
Okay, there actually is a lot of drama going on right now in the Magic community, and I just know that from the YouTubers I follow, but my knowledge of Magic is very limited. Corey would probably know.
Black Lotus, that's a good card, right?
That's basically the only card I can identify, and maybe the dual lands. I know a lot about the dual lands and the Power 9 cards. Anything else, I'm kind of like unfamiliar. I mean, I might know things here and there, and that's basically it. But anyway, Dr. Cards, thank you for your question. We do appreciate the contribution. Mm-hmm. And oh man, 4 questions in one podcast. That's a new record.
We're moving up. Yes,
let's shoot for 5 next week.
Thank you, everyone. Owen Reese, Union Josh Yu-Gi-Oh, Baby Dragon 48, and Dr. Cards.
Mm-hmm.
You can follow all them on the Instagrams.
Yes, we will have their Instagrams linked in the descriptions.
Yes.
So that way you can follow them.
Yes. But with that being said, now we're going to wrap up our podcast here. I just want to mention to all you listeners to please go check out our YouTube channel, Level With Me. There you'll find, of course, this podcast that you're listening to, as well as previous episodes we've done. We upload the podcast there every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, usually on Mondays, but sometimes we'll have technical difficulties or something could come up, but we'll let you know on like somewhere other social media sites. But you can also find all our Let's Play content there. Me and Mike are playing through, well, Mike's playing through Metroid. I'm blanking on the name. Zero Mission. There we go.
That's right.
He's playing Zero Mission. I'm watching him. I'm playing Luigi's Mansion 3, and he's watching me. That's like our dual commentaries. Then Mike is playing Subnautica
Below Zero.
I always get that wrong. Below
That's
Zero.
Right.
I don't know what Absolute Zero is. That must be something else. Freudian slip. He's playing that. I'm playing Remnant from the Ashes and Last of Us Part 2. We're going to have many videos coming soon. I'm literally working on a bunch. So please go check all those out and support us there. Thank you. You can also support me personally. I'm GameBro Corey. You can follow me on my Twitch, on my YouTube, on my Instagram, my Twitter. Pretty light on most content. Like, I've been really focusing on Level With Me. Twitter and Instagram, you can kind of get information about like content and the podcast more or less. I'm really itching to go back to Twitch. I have some ideas of things that's different that I want to stream on Twitch. So yeah, check that out. GameBro Corey. What about you, Mike? You got anything you want to plug?
Yeah, just want to say thanks again for listening. You guys want to see some of my like single content? I do also contribute to Level With Me, as Corey said. I'm doing the Subnautica Let's Play, as well as one of many Metroid Let's Plays, starting with Zero Mission. Or you can catch me on YouTube and Instagram at the Collector's Vault. But you know, where basically I mainly talk about talk about games, but I'm also talking about, again, as the name would imply, collectibles, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, also video games. I do find video games to be collectible, so I definitely want to make sure I give them some love. And yeah, I really appreciate if you guys just show me and Corey some support and love. Just follow us or subscribe to us, and we'll do our best to provide you guys with some entertaining content.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. And with that being said, we'll see y'all next week. Bye, guys.
All right. Later, guys.